took a little longer than we wanted, but summer seems like it finally has arrived in Milwaukee. The roof is open. We have baseball the way it should be played, outdoors. Pirates and Brewers game 2 of their series. Milwaukee with a big-time power surge win to take game 1 on Monday, and this guy had something to do with it. Carlos Gomez, some of the hottest hitters in the league, wearing the Brewers blue and gold. Gene Segura as well. And what a job Betancourt has done filling in over at third base for Milwaukee. Hi, everybody. Craig Kashan, Davey Nelson back aboard with you here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. The month of April, Brewers are going to come out of it with a winning month, a strange and long month filled with injuries, comebacks, bizarre plays, but they're only a game out of first.
Well, and how did they do it? Simply, they did it because they believed in themselves. And no matter how bad things got going, they believed in themselves. They knew they had a good ball club.
Well, let's take a look quickly on what the Brewers were able to accomplish. They survived the injury to Ramos Ramirez early on April 6th. He's due back soon. Then they have the walk-off win to beat the Giants. A 9-game winning streak along the way. Then this crazy play where Segura ends up, well, for all intents and purposes, stealing first. Ryan Braun, average low but power high. And how about Jim Henderson out of the bullpen? 6 of the team's 7 saves. Everything straightens out there. And then the young shortstop opening a lot of eyes. Gene Segura among the league in hitting and stealing bases. Brewers power surge last night, hopes to continue into Miller Park here on this Tuesday night. An historic night to talk about when we come back to Miller Park and the start of baseball. Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Toyota, let's go places. And by AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. Now let's send it up to Brian Anderson and a couple of former major leaguers.
Yes, sir, and Wisconsin-born major leaguers. Brian Anderson, Craig Counsell, Jerry Augustine, One more day without Bill Schroeder. Again, he is attending the funeral of his mother-in-law in Minneapolis. We miss Rock, and we're glad you guys were able to fill in last night. Did a great job, so we thought we would do it again today. And last night, Craig, we saw something we have not seen at a Major League game since 1958. The Brewers with 5 home runs and 3 triples as part of that win.
I thought it was a great way to come back from a tough game against Clayton Kershaw, where he shuts you out. They come back, put up 5 runs in the first inning. Gene Segura said it best, we just turned the page, and they turned the page all night. Top of the order, bottom of the order, they got runs from everywhere. It's a great way to start out a big homestand.
Well, the Brewers have now won 7 consecutive games here at Miller Park, Augie. They have also won 8 consecutive against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the Brewers are going to give the ball to Marco Estrada tonight. And you know he's hoping for some of that run support that he saw last night.
Yeah, if there's anybody that benefits from having Kyle Lohse on this ball club, it's got to be Marco Estrada. He's been an underdog his whole career, and he's a real student of the game. But the one thing that impresses you about Marco Estrada are his goals for this year. Number 1, to stay healthy. Number 2, when he gets a start, to give his team an opportunity to win. And thirdly, most important, he wants to have quality starts. And I'll tell you what, so far this year, he's off to a great start.
Yes, he is. 5 starts. He has a 2-1 record. Actually pitched one of his better ball games this last time out, but suffered the loss. So we're set to go. First pitch coming your way. It is the Brewers and the Buccos on Fox Sports Wisconsin tonight. Estrada leading the Brewers out onto the field here at Miller Park. The roof is open for the first time this season. It feels like summer here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Well, Clint Hurdle has not had a lot of success here in Brewtown. He's been managing for 11 years in the big leagues, his 3rd with the Pittsburgh Pirates, former manager of the Colorado Rockies, and now turning this Pirates ball club around. They come in with a record of 15-11. His Piggly Wiggly batting order has Marte, Martin, and McCutchen at the top. Garrett Jones, Gabby Sanchez, and Pedro Alvarez in the middle, with Brandon Inge, Clint Barmas, and James McDonald rounding it out. Defensively for the Brew Crew behind Estrada, it's brought to you by Menards. You've got Braun Gomez and Aoki in the outfield. Betancourt, Segura, Weeks, and Maldonado around the horn, with Lucroy doing the catching. Same starting 8 as far as positional players as we saw last night. And Jerry Augustine, it is Marco Estrada tonight, start number 6.
Yeah, when you talk about a pitcher that uses his pitches and needs his control, it is Marco Estrada. Fastball, changeup and a curveball. Really relies on that changeup. That changeup makes him what he is. He's got 4 quality starts out of 5, and he's throwing the ball very well.
So Estrada coming off a loss his last time out against the San Diego Padres, although he pitched very well. Delivers a fastball strike, and away we go. Beautiful day for baseball here. Tuesday night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the final game of the series tomorrow afternoon. Brewers are beginning a 9-game homestand here this week. Got the Cardinals coming in Thursday. That'll be a 4-game series with St. Louis, and then the Texas Rangers a 2-game series next week. And a liner to left. That is down for a base hit, and Marte continues to swing the bat well to start a ball game. That is now 14 hits for Marte in 22 at-bats, and it's a leadoff double here in the first inning.
Right here, Marco tried to get the ball down on the inside part of play, left it out, overplayed a little bit. Marte at the beginning of the ball game has been swinging at a 600 pace. Got to the ball, drove it down the left field line for a double.
I'll tell you, and even over his last 9 games, he is 6 for 7 at the plate with 2 walks. Well, Craig, last night the Brewers come in and facing a red-hot Pittsburgh ball club, a team that had won 3 consecutive series against contenders, the Braves, the Phillies, the St. Louis Cardinals, and it was the same old song for Milwaukee against Pittsburgh. Their 8th consecutive win against the Pirates going back to last season.
It's hard to explain it, but I know that for the first game of a season against a team, and a team that's playing well, and a team that you've kind of had their number, it's a good way to start the year again.
Russell Martin into left field, a base hit. So this one starts just like it did last night, with a couple of runners on and nobody out, as Russell Martin, now a mainstay in the 2-hole in the batting order for Clint Hurdle, with a base hit. He had a hit last night in the first inning. Pirates did score first last night, but the Brewers scored 5 runs in the bottom of the first yesterday and never looked back. It was a 10-4 final score. The Brewers had 13 hits last night, and that record-setting performance with 5 home runs and 3 triples in last night's game. So here is Andrew McCutchen now. 2 on, nobody out. McCutchen drove in a run yesterday on a ground out in the first inning. And Estrada gets ahead of him quickly. Now, you mentioned it, Jerry. Marco Estrada has long since been the underdog. He's never really had a starting role in the major leagues locked up until this season, but he knew from day one in spring training, based on the way he's pitched for Ron Roenicke the last 2 years, that his position in the rotation was a guarantee. As McCutchen goes back up the middle, and the Pirates with 3 straight hits, and they are on the board first tonight, 1-0. Still nobody out, and a rough start for Marco.
Yeah, the one important thing for Marco is, first of all, he's got to get ahead, but it seems like he's throwing all his pitches. Right here we have a changeup that he tried to get down and away. Ball got up over the plate. McCutchen just went back up the middle with the pitch. Really a good job of hitting right there. But the important thing for Marco Estrada with that changeup, he's got to make it sure it's down in the strike zone.
Well, a shaky start here tonight, and the Pirates 3 consecutive hits to start the ball game. First and second now, with Garrett Jones coming up, and the kind of power bat that can make this a big crooked number early. Has 3 home runs. He hit one here last night. Has homered in his last 2 games. He also homered in St. Louis on Sunday. Well, it feels like the ball is going to fly a little bit here tonight. The temperature is up. It has been in the lower to mid 80s pretty much all day, depending on where you are throughout Milwaukee. Greg, you were down there for batting practice, and the ball is traveling today. It feels like a summer day in Wisconsin.
The hitters love the warm weather. They love how the ball goes in the summer here, and this is going to be good conditions to hit in. And it's really up to both pitchers to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Now, both of these pitchers have a tendency to give up the long ball. Estrada for the Brewers, James McDonald for the Pirates.
And as you watch Marco tonight, I think it's great to watch the cat and mouse game that he plays with the hitter. It's the fastball changeup, and the hitter has to be ready for those two very different speed pitches that look the same coming out of his hand. One comes out of his hand at 79 miles an hour, the other comes out at 90. And it's that cat and mouse of the hitter trying to pick which pitch is coming.
Pickoff play at second, close play. Martin is back.
And like you said, Craig, the one thing with his fastball and his changeup, he will throw that changeup at any count. And that's what makes that cat and mouse game, just like you said, and helps Marco out so much.
Well, he'd love a ground ball here. The Brewers would love to turn two. That one's in the air, foul. One of the nemesis for Estrada, the nemesis innings for him. He has a tendency and has been this way his entire career with Milwaukee, but he does give up occasionally that big inning, and he can just as easily settle down and rip right through a lineup after that. But he talked about this offseason wanting to eliminate that big inning this season, and he is faced with one right here, perhaps, unless he can make some pitches. Boy, that didn't miss by much. And the count goes to 2-2. That run the Pirates scored a moment ago, the first inning run that Estrada has allowed all season. And he was looking for the call on the 1-2 pitch. See what it gives him. 2-2. Change up, fouled back.
Nice job by Jones, hanging tough there.
You see the Brewers put a shift on for Garrett Jones. It would be even more pronounced if the bases were empty. But obviously the scouting report has Jones as a pull hitter on the ground. Brewers shift about as much as any team in the major leagues. And that one just missed. So some close pitches on the edge. Jones has shown a good eye. That is Scott Barry calling the balls and strikes tonight. Tim Welke's the crew chief. He's over at first base. Mike Everett and Marty Foster join him. Well, all of a sudden Marco Estrada coming right out of the bullpen, having to make a big pitch early in this game. The payoff. And a bouncer to first. Maldonado is only play his first base, and there is the first out. It does advance the runners.
Well, Marco made great pitches to Garrett Jones at bat. He lived on the outside corner and threw a fastball down there and got a ground ball.
See that last pitch? He's been keeping, like Craig said, he's trying to keep the ball down, trying to induce that ground ball. And what he did right there is just threw a fastball, where prior to that he threw a little two-seam fastball, had a little bit of movement off the plate. That time he came with a four-seam fastball, which is a straighter pitch in the strike zone down.
Yeah, it looked like Jones might have chased ball four. He gets the out of it. 2 on now and 1 away. And here's Gabby Sanchez. And he takes a strike from Estrada.
Ron Renick's going to play the corners in here and leave the middle guys back. He'll give up the run on a ball hit to the middle, but any ball hit the Betancourt or Maldonado, there will be a play at the plate.
Maldonado is always an interesting study over at first base. Hasn't played the position much. He actually committed 2 errors on the same batted ball yesterday. And I saw Maldonado out early today. He was working hard on his defense. He knows that's a spot where some at-bats will come here in the next few days. Alex Gonzalez still hampered by a little tightness in the hamstring, so it's Maldonado who's been playing. And with that catcher's mentality, takes his defense very seriously, and a pretty conscientious player defensively. Ready for a 1-1. Sanchez lays off. 2 balls and a strike.
You know, one thing with Marco's delivery, when you watch him here, he's very deliberate. And one thing you talk about that's real key. The last time we talked about Yo with his rhythm and having that good timing. Marco is very deliberate But what he does, he gets to that good balance point, and he gets to that certain point each and every time. He knows, and he's got that timing to release, separate his hands, and get the arm in a good throwing position. Very deliberate, but very consistent.
Now a quick visit to the mound by Lucroy. Might have spotted something in Marco's delivery. The 2-1 to Sanchez is outside for a ball. Now there is a base open at first. Got a power hitter coming up next. We're only in the first inning, but Estrada is having to make some high pressure pitches already.
I think that the base open with the guy on deck that is a strikeout candidate.
Change up for a strike. To your point, Augie, he'll throw that pitch in any count. Both of Estrada's wins this year have come against the Cubs. Beat him at Wrigley, beat him here at Miller Park 2 starts ago. His only loss came in his last start in San Diego as Sanchez doesn't bite, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. And it looked like Estrada was content to see if Sanchez would get himself out there.
You know, one thing he did right there, he threw that 3-1 changeup that we talked about. He will throw it at any time. And sometimes you throw that 3-1 changeup, you get him to that full count, and you throw it, come back with it, which he did. He doubled up on it. A lot of times a hitter will go after that. Sanchez did a nice job of staying off that pitch and drawing the walk.
Well, those numbers are pretty scary coming up here in the first inning. He is a .360 hitter with a couple of grand slams, Pedro Alvarez. His overall numbers, though, he's hitting under 200. He's bounced into a couple of double plays this season. And Estrada drops it at off speed for a strike. The 188 batting average actually includes a pretty hot streak at the plate. He really scuffled to start the year. He does have a tendency to swing and miss, as Craig mentioned, to his point. 30 strikeouts already this season. 30 Ks and 85 at-bats this year for Pedro Alvarez. That is among the league leaders.
And Jonathan Lucroy and Marco are very aware of that. You always know who's on deck. You always know the guy next in the lineup. And a lot of times pitchers, they pitch to the lineup.
Ball and a strike. Alvarez lays off.
So if you feel good against certain hitters, if you feel like your stuff matches up against certain hitters, you'll be more willing to attack that hitter and maybe don't let that other hitter beat you.
Brewers set up to turn 2. Estrada, typically a fly ball pitcher, would love to get one on the ground here. The 2-1 hit in the air. This is drifting into foul territory. Now coming back, but Weeks is there. Infield fly rule called, and Martin holds his ground. Runners are on their own once the call goes up for the infield fly rule. The batter is automatically out, and now Estrada is an out away from getting out of this first inning mess.
It was a nice job of pitching by Marco right there. He started him off with a pitch, a changeup down and away for a strike, which allowed him to set the hitter up. It came back with a fastball away, even the count, and jammed him with a good fastball in, popped it up to the second baseman.
Well, let me take you guys back to yesterday's first inning when the Brewers were at the plate. Wandy Rodriguez had given up 2 runs and had runners on base with 2 outs. And the Brewers got the big hit, turned it into a 5-run inning. As Brandon Inge takes strike 1. And you guys talked yesterday about how important that first inning was for the Brewers from the offensive side, and it really turned into a lopsided game. And now the Brewers are in that same spot on the other side here tonight. Strike 2. Fastball right by him at 91.
The first inning counts the same as the 9th inning. I think sometimes as the game goes on, we focus on that 9th inning, but those runs scored in the first inning, or those runs prevented in the first inning, or those pitches you make in the first inning, just as important.
0-2 to Brandon Inge. Bases loaded, and he got him. Lucroy dropped the ball, steps on the plate, secures the strikeout. And how about Marco Estrada pulling the Houdini act? Only one comes in. 1-0 Pirates.
left-hander.
Well, the Pirates do score first tonight, just as they did last night, but Marco Estrada getting out of a major jam, much to the delight of his manager. Ron Roenicke has seen his club dominate the Pirates in his tenure here in Milwaukee. Roenicke's batting order tonight brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. It's Aoki, Segura, and Braun, Lucroy, Weeks, and Gomez in the middle, Betancourt, Maldonado, and Estrada rounding it out. And that's the lineup that will face Big James McDonald, start number 6 tonight, Augie.
Yeah, he's a kind of an enigma to this Pittsburgh ball club. When you look at him in the first half of 2012, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Really had a good first half of the year. Second half of the year started struggling. Right now, so far, what he is, he's a good fastball, and he likes to get to that good breaking ball he has.
See the defense behind McDonald, brought to you by Menards. At one point, the Pirates went 40 consecutive innings without an error, but they kicked it a little bit last night. And it wasn't just the errors that show up. There was just one error, but a couple of misplays as well. As Aoki leads the way for the Brewers once again tonight. He hit a long home run here last night. Looked like a power hitter at the plate. Went off the facing of the Loge level in right field. He drew a walk, got a hit, scored a couple of runs. Brewers hit 5 home runs last night from 5 different players and had the 3 triples. That one sliced down the line, and that is a foul ball. Now, if you weren't with us last night, it was the biggest output of the year for the Brewers last night, and they were 2 home runs shy of a club record. Even the pitcher Gallardo got into the act on the Powerball home run leaderboard. Gomez almost hit 2. He had a home run and then hit one off the top of the wall. Those last 4 home runs came in back-to-back variety in 2 separate innings. Brewers had gone the entire season without back-to-back home runs, and then they did it in 2 different innings yesterday, the 4th and the 5th. And Bernie got a big-time workout yesterday. I think he shed a few pounds. He was going up and down that slide as fast as he could. Aoki gets sawed off. Popped him up. McCutchen coming in, the Gold Glover, and there is out number 1. Well, Craig, we sat here yesterday. We talked about how do you bounce back from getting shut out and dealing with a pitcher like Clayton Kershaw, and I think the same question applies tonight. How do you come back after you have such a great offensive night?
It's the same thing. You turn the page. As Gene said, we turned the page after we faced Kershaw, and you really got to turn the page when you face James McDonald. You face the next pitcher. Tonight's a new night. Put together good at bats.
Now Segura continues to impress. He checks in today with the 2nd highest batting average in the National League. He and Gomez are both inside the top 10. Chris Johnson of the Braves leads the way right now, just by 3 percentage points. You got Johnson, Segura, Bryce Harper. Carlos Gomez is 6th in the league in batting. I don't know what is a bigger surprise at this time of the year. The fact that Gomez is 6th in the league in hitting, essentially after the first month, or that Yuni Betancourt is 5th in the National League in RBIs. And Segura takes a strike. 2 players giving major offensive production as the Brewers try to weather the storm without 2 of their big run producers in Corey Hart and Aramis Ramirez. And Segura draws the walk. And therein lies where the success story will be for the Brewers. If they get to McDonald tonight, Augie, it'll be because of the command.
It does. It all starts and ends with command for McDonald. It just seems like he's likes to command that fastball. When he can command the fastball in the strike zone, he can get to that good breaking ball he has. It seems like this year they've said that he's starting to throw a little bit of a slider. Doesn't use the changeup all that much, but it all starts with that fastball so he can get to that curveball.
1 gone, man at first for Ryan Braun. 7 home runs, 21 runs batted in. Braun is 6th in the league in homers. He is 4th in the league in RBIs. And counts. How about the running game against the combo of James McDonald and Russell Martin behind the plate?
Well, we know with Ron Roenicke, the Ron Roenicke Brewers, the running game is always going to be a factor. They're looking for an edge anywhere they can get it. They're going to try to run. Segura's been excellent so far this year, 7 out of 8.
Segura is second in the league in stolen bases coming in. Got passed last night. Juan Pierre. Did you know he played for the Miami Marlins now? I know you did. But he does, and he is leading the league in stolen bases.
Those are some old legs that are still running good.
That's right. And McDonald has fallen behind Ryan Braun 2-0.
Craig, you're talking about McDonald, and, as a pitcher, you got to have a guy who struggles with command. Sometimes they talk about teams got to be more patient at the plate or more aggressive. What is the approach you take on a pitcher such as a McDonald?
I think it's different for every hitter, but I think patience and aggressive, really, it's getting a good pitch to hit. So a good pitch to hit is a good pitch to hit no matter what count you're in. And I think that's how you have to approach it as a hitter. Get a good pitch to hit, see the ball. Now, in a count like 2-0, you can shrink the strike zone, look for a smaller part of the plate to cover.
Segura takes off. Braun back up the middle, and it's gloved by the shortstop. Barmes thrown to first in time. Wow, what a play. And because Segura was on his way to second base, Barmes was in a perfect position to get the out, and tough luck for Ryan Braun. That was some kind of play by Barmes, who had a key misplay in yesterday's game.
Well, that's the Clint Barmes that the Pittsburgh Pirates want playing shortstop for sure. That's a brilliant play and saves the start of a nice inning for the Brewers.
Yeah, instead of first and third, Brewers now with 2 outs and a runner at second for Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy comes in with a batting average of .221. Been frustrated about his hitting this year. He did have a bit of a hot streak on the last homestand. He is responsible for a couple of game winners this season, however. Chops one over to third base. Alvarez with a strong arm. Low throw, dug out by Sanchez. And the side is retired. Pirates lead at 1-0. 1 inning in the books at Miller Park. Whiff already in this game, courtesy of Head and Shoulders, as Marco Estrada. He's a guy that can rack up some strikeouts. He picked up a big one on Brandon Inge with the bases loaded last inning. And we want to remind you that right now, if you'll go to the Brewers Twitter handle @Brewers and use the hashtag WHIFF, W-H-I-F-F. Just do that. If everybody at the sound of my voice will do that right now, the Brewers are trying to actually pick up some money for the local RBI program. It's a project by Head and Shoulders, and you can win a Yovani Gallardo game jersey here tonight. So right now the Brewers are about 1,500 tweets behind the Blue Jays. This is the last day to do it. The Brewers trying to get $10,000 as a donation from Head and Shoulders for the local RBI league here in Wisconsin. So jump on the Twitter and use the hashtag whiff. And speaking of whiff, Augie, it was pretty impressive how Estrada was able to navigate through some pretty rough first inning waters.
Yeah, it looked like early in the inning he was getting the ball up, didn't quite make his pitches, but once he got himself in trouble, he went to being having a little bit better command, using that changeup, breaking ball. But mainly, I thought he did a great job of executing with his fastball.
Clint Varmus leads off for Pittsburgh. And maybe a key moment last inning counts was the visit by Lucroy as they're going through the lineup. Gabby Sanchez at the plate. They end up walking him to load the bases, but Marco's able to retire the next two hitters.
I really think that's what they're talking about there. They're talking about who they feel more comfortable facing.
Bouncer over to Betancourt at third. Plenty of time and one gone here in the second inning.
And every pitcher's going to have to make that decision. They're going to have to make a decision which guys they like facing in a lineup. Lucroy goes out there, and that's why the catcher has such a tough job. I'm sure Rock tells you this every day, but he's got to be thinking every single second. His mind is turning on what's next, what's next, what's next. And Lucroy correctly saw that maybe we want to face Pedro Alvarez instead of Gabby Sanchez.
And that got him that second out. A pop-up from Alvarez. Actually turned out to be an infield fly rule. The other half of that, though, is Alvarez is a power hitter who could just as easily hit one in the seats.
And Craig was right. Craig was right there. You know, as a pitcher, when you're out there, you have that catcher come out there. You have a tremendous amount of confidence in what he's doing. You're looking for that positive input to go who you're going to go after, and so that catcher does have a tough job.
There's a changeup, and McDonald strikes out. The Pirate pitcher is strikeout number 2.
Right here we see Marco, a pitch that he likes to throw a lot. He throws it in different locations. Here he has it going away from a left-hand hitter. He can throw it. He can make the ball move in different areas when he wants to. And that time he throws it away from the left-hand hitter, gets McDonald to swing and miss.
Well, he's a guy that doesn't possess the overpowering fastball, but he racks up a ton of strikeouts. Marco Estrada now with 30 strikeouts for the season. This is just his 6th start as he spins a breaking ball in there on Marte for strike 1. So Estrada now with 30 strikeouts to go along with 7 walks for the season. Outstanding strikeout to walk ratio. As a matter of fact, if you go back to the beginning of 2011, only Cliff Lee has a better strikeout to walk ratio in the National League than Marco Estrada. That might win you a bet at the water cooler tomorrow. A pop up, foul territory. Weeks is over. Maldonado and Weeks up into the stands, and that ball bounces free. Good effort by Weeks.
You know, that's what's so impressive about Marco. He's got that changeup that he can throw at any time. He throws it to different locations, as we see the play here. But the one thing he does, he locates that fastball, then every once in a while he throws that curveball, the old equalizer, and he throws it consistently for strikes.
Well, he's got Marte down, a ball and 2 strikes. That play over there in foul territory reminds me to ask you, Craig, about a second baseman. Do you think Weeks is feeling that extra burden with a guy playing first base who hasn't been there that often, and he's got a shortstop who's essentially in his first full season in the big leagues? How much of that burden is Ricky Weeks having to shoulder at this point?
You're aware of it, and I think part of your job, part of Ricky's job, is really to help, especially Martin Maldonado, with communication things at first base, whether it be bunt plays, situations that come up, anything that he might not be fully aware of. It's part of Ricky's job for sure to help Martin.
Another 1-2 and a bouncer over to third. Betancourt got to get it off quickly, and 2 gone. Let's check it. 3 up, 3 down. Best inning so far for Marco Estrada. Good answer. 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the second, and we are pleased to be joined by Lee Tunnell, the Brewers bullpen coach. He's hanging out in the bullpen. And Lee, thanks for spending a little time with us here. In your opinion, we've talked a lot about the pitching and the success of the pitching, but specifically to the bullpen and defining the roles, what have you seen down there over this winning stretch?
Well, I mean, everybody has taken advantage of the opportunities that they've had, you know, from Figueroa to Kinsler to, you know, everybody. Both lefties have thrown well, Axe and Henderson, and they've all done a good job with the opportunities they've had.
Now, Lee, as you go through and you're working with relievers and specifically John Axford, he gives you a lot of credit for helping him make it to the big leagues. What kind of process has that been with Axford? He's starting to pitch very well now.
Well, I mean, it's not really much different from anybody else. It's just, you know, being able to have an understanding of where he's been and what he's been through. And sometimes it's easier to go back and refine where you need to be if you know where you were, if you know what I mean.
Well, you're sitting in a position tonight. We were kind of hoping Weeks would hit one over the fence right in your lap. But I noticed last night Tom Gorzelani misplayed a couple of the home runs last night. So you guys like to have a little fun during the game. Who is your designated home run catcher in the bullpen tonight?
Yeah, well, it's Gorzelani has declared himself the official home run catcher for us in the bullpen. So he's going to be back at it again tonight.
Are you comfortable with that decision?
Well, I stay in my seat in the corner over there, and not many balls get back there. So.
Well, we just saw him tank one right there. So we'll let you go, Lee. Go do your job. Thanks for spending a little time with us.
You bet.
Appreciate the insights of Lee Tunnell. So here's Gorzelani last night, and that was the second one. He actually whiffed 2 of them. And they take that very seriously, don't they, Augie?
Yeah, they are. You all have your jobs on there. It's you're a fraternity down there, and everybody's got to do their job. And for Gorzelani, that's his job right now.
Ricky Weeks draws the walk. I mean, if you announce yourself as the designated home run catcher and you whiff twice, seems like you don't get that job back the next day.
Well, I think the one thing Gorzelani's doing is he's starting to get focus. It's getting that good focus that, you know, he made a couple of errors, a couple of mistakes, that he'll be ready for the next one. So we'll be watching him to see how he does from now on.
The things they do in the bullpen, if we only knew. Seems like I remember a Craig Counsell sighting in the bullpen once, maybe as a bullpen catcher when in an emergency. Or was that just at home plate? I'm having a vision of you catching at one point.
I would go down there, I'd pinch hit in a game, and then I'd take the golf cart down to the bullpen and warm up a pitcher. It was great.
Nice.
The bullpen is like its own little team. They're their own bunch of guys. They got their own, you know, superstitions and nobody else knows about. They do their own thing. They're almost like this separate group of guys that form this great camaraderie because they're together so much every day. They're in this little confined space every day together. So having those kind of unique, you know, fun, quirky things they do, I think is great.
It's amazing how much everybody respects each other, too. They all have to do their own thing. They all get ready a different way, and you just let everybody do their thing. And that's becomes sometimes a tough job for Lee because he's got to understand what these guys do. And these guys get in different frames of mind. And a bullpen coach is really important because he's your sounding board out there. And so with Lee being out there, he's a pretty special guy because he's got to understand each of the personalities.
Yeah, he's a great psychologist, Lee Tunnell. He's very calm. He, for many years, was the Brewers' roving pitching instructor in the minor league system. And as we mentioned, John Axford gives him a lot of credit for helping get him to the big leagues. And Tunnell having a good chat with bullpen catcher Marcus Hanel. And those two guys are a very good team down there on the island of the bullpen. Gomez would like to send one out there in that bullpen and shake them up here tonight. Carlos is ahead in the count, 3-1. Uni B on deck. Brewers have gotten great balance from their order up and down. And Gomez draws the walk. How about that? Back-to-back walks. The third walk issued by McDonald. Hey, a reminder, you can enroll in a world-class experience this summer. Quick Trip presents the first annual Brewers Baseball Academy. These instructional kit camps are coming to a city near you. Visit brewers.com/camps today. two great instructors here in the booth tonight, and Jerry Augustine and Craig Counsell. Now 2 on with nobody out, and here comes Yuni Betancourt. Sitting on 20 runs batted in. He's hit 5 home runs. 2 for 4 last night. Had 3 runs batted in. Homered last night. He and Gomez went back to back in the 5th inning of last night's game. Right now, John Buck leads the National League in RBIs with 25. Now playing for the Mets. Then Brandon Phillips, Troy Tulowitzki, who is not in the starting lineup tonight for the Rockies. He's got an injured left shoulder. And then you have Braun and Betancourt. Plenty of people buying on Braun, but I can't imagine buying on Betancourt. What a season he's had. And the Brewers are hoping to ride it as long as they can. It is going to be interesting, though, Craig, when Aramis Ramirez returns later this week, how Roenicke will maneuver these two backup infielders who are shortstops by trade, Betancourt and Gonzalez.
Well, I think a lot of times that, how the players are playing kind of makes the decisions for Roenicke.
As Betancourt sends one foul.
And right now, with Yuni being so hot, there's a good chance he's going to get the bulk of the playing time. You take that hot bat and you ride it as long as you can.
And it is sustained success for Betancourt. And you got to remember, he went to spring training with the Phillies. He hit over 400 this spring. He played winter ball in Mexico this offseason, something he has not done in the last few years. Betancourt is a native of Cuba and has had an everyday starting role in the big leagues as a shortstop with the Mariners, the Royals. He came to the Brewers in 2011, the division championship team. So he didn't get the number of at-bats he had hoped for last year with Kansas City. Decided to go play winter ball. And he pops this one up. Back is Inge. And there is the first out. And the runners have to stay put.
When we talked about McDonald, he uses that fastball to get ahead of hitters, and then he likes to use that breaking ball right here on Yuni. He got ahead of him through that good breaking ball, popped him up to the second baseman.
You see the Charter high-speed pitch for these two hurlers. McDonald topping out at 94. Marco Estrada at 91. McDonald has issued 3 walks thus far through the first 7 in the batting order. 2 on, 1 away for Martin Maldonado. Maldonado had a key hit last night. A 2-out, 2 RBI single. Came with 2 strikes as well, just as it looked like Wandy Rodriguez was going to be able to get out of an inning. Maldonado came up with a big hit. Bouncer, and that is fair down the line. Weeks around third, he'll score. Gomez racing around the bag, and he will score. A 2 RBI hit for Maldonado. It's a double, and the Brewers have taken the lead.
Maldonado gets a fastball and sneaks it down the line. Past the diving Alvarez. And Gomez, with his great speed, scores easily from first base.
Well, that ball took a wicked bounce off the sidewall, and you see Marte, who has not had a lot of experience at Miller Park, and Gomez saw it all the way and just flying around the bases. You don't see many guys score from first on a base hit to left. 2-1. The Brewers get the big hit from Maldonado again. And now Estrada up there to try to bunt him over.
I think Marco may have missed a sign there. We probably want Ron would probably want Marco to swing the bat here and just see what happens. 1 out already, so no sacrifice moving him to third with 2 outs. Not much benefit. Let's see if Marco swings away here.
He does have a couple of hits this year. He actually has driven in 2 runs this season. He's 2 for 12 at the plate. And he shoots out on the right for a base hit. Maldonado around third. It's bobbled in right. Maldonado will score. And it's 3-1. And another defensive miscue by the Pirates. Garrett Jones. Ed Cedar had already held up Maldonado around third base. Estrada with his 3rd hit of the season, and there you see the bobble by Garrett Jones, which allowed Maldonado to score. How about these pitchers, Augie, swinging the bat? This has been impressive.
I'll tell you, come out early and you watch these guys in batting practice. They take it really seriously. Not only do they just swing and have a good time, they're working on hitting the ball the other way, pulling the ball, getting runners in. They've done a great job this year, and a big part of how the Brewers are scoring runs.
Well, Gallardo has 4 hits. He had a home run last night. Estrada now with 3. That'll be an E9 on Jones. No RBI for Marco. And now back to the top of the order. And Aoki into left center field. It's got some slice, but McCutchen too fast. And he runs it down. Estrada retreats. Out number 2. Picked the wrong center fielder to try to squeeze one by. Andrew McCutchen. He can go get him with the best of them. Well, Maldonado's been getting his playing time here with Gonzalez out with a tight hamstring, and he's made the most of it.
That's what versatility does. It just gets you some more at bats, gives you a chance to feel good at the plate. I know I always thought if the more positions I could play, I just could get more at bats. And I think Martin being able to play first base, you now see Jonathan Lucroy taking ground balls at first base and getting in a game at first base. It just gets you more at bats. And everybody wants to be in the lineup. Only 9 guys can. You play multiple positions, you get in the lineup more.
I'll never forget the scene last year when Maldonado, once Lucroy came back from his injury, there was a day here at Miller Park, and Maldonado's playing time was going to be limited after Lucroy came back, and he was out at first base taking ground balls. And I remember asking Ron Renicky, "You've got Maldonado taking ground balls?" And he goes, "I do." And he looked out there and he said, "Well, he must be doing that on his own," which the manager liked. He said, "I like the fact that he went and found a first baseman's mitt and asked for some ground balls over there." Planted that seed in the manager's mind.
That's right. He recognized an opportunity, a place where there might be some at bats if Corey Hart would have needed a day off last year. So it's a great thing, and it's turned into some at bats for him.
Segura walks for the 2nd time, and the maturation of Gene Segura right before our eyes. You know, McDonald watched what happened last night, has fed him a lot of breaking balls, and Segura is not biting. That brings Ray Searage, the pitching coach, out to the mound.
It's a sign of how quickly Gene Segura is gaining respect in the league. Ryan Braun is up next. But Gene Segura is worrisome for these pitchers now. He's created doubt in their minds. They don't want to make a mistake to him. When they become afraid to make a mistake to him, they're going to pick and they're going to throw balls. They're going to get behind in the count, and they're going to issue walks.
Well, the Powerball home run leaderboard. It's as good a time as any with Ryan Braun coming up. 7 homers this year. He leads the club. He led the club last year. Led the National League in home runs last season. On the Powerball home run leaderboard. 2 gone in the inning. 3 runs are in. McDonald has issued 3 walks in this inning. 4 total. And now 2 on for Braun. Braun had a couple of hits last night to right field. He has very good career numbers against James McDonald. He's now 6 for 14 at the plate. 2 of those 6 hits are homers. (2-0). And now 6 consecutive balls by McDonald, and a pitch count that is already over 40 as we play here in the 2nd inning. He's at 42 pitches already. 25 pitches out of the strike zone. The 2-0, and Braun takes a strike.
You know, one thing that's important for a pitcher like McDonald, he's a fastball and he likes to get to that breaking ball. You have to have good command of that fastball. You got to be able to throw it to good locations if you're a two-pitch pitcher. I know he's working on a slider, working on a change. But if you're a two-pitch pitcher, you got to command the fastball, and that's what he's been struggling at early in this game.
And a late call of a strike, and Braun not pleased. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Looked like Scott Berry thought about it for a moment. Right at the bottom of the strike zone, as you can see on our Fox tracks. Here's the 2-2, and Braun spoils it foul. The numbers with runners in scoring position, and although the batting average for Braun is low by his standards at .263, he's been very good in the clutch situations. 7 for 18 and a couple of home runs. He's got a runner in scoring position in Estrada. Pirates outfield is very deep. Garrett Jones is a step in front of the warning track in right field. The 2-2 and a swing and a miss. Braun strikes out. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball gets McDonald out of the inning, but the Brew Crew coming up with 3. Big hit by Maldonado once again. A 2 RBI double. Estrada delivers a base hit. And a run scoring error by Jones. 3-1 Brewers. Second, 3-1. The Brewers have the lead as we go to the third. Tonight's Tavern of the Game winner is the VFW in Viroqua. If the Tavern contact calls the Milwaukee Brewers in the next 24 hours at 414-902-4572, Viroqua VFW will receive 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a 2013 Brewers home game. This offer is courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin
and Miller Lite.
Good job, Craig. I knew I could count on you. Let's kick it down to Mark Concannon.
Be a Marco Estrada, the first inning tonight for him, symbolic of his career. He got into trouble, but was a grinder. Grinded his way out of there from 2008 to 2010. Marco pitched just 31 innings in the major leagues, finally sticking with the Brewers in 2011. Moving into the starting rotation last season, he stayed there, but he told me he's taking nothing for granted. He'll keep grinding it out to stay in the rotation. A big hit last inning from Marco, guys. He's been feeling very confident. He had a batting practice home run yesterday and was reminding his teammates about that.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you know the one thing about Marco Estrada, it's all about consistency. And we talked about having a veteran here like Kyle Lohse, who knows how to go out there and locate pitches, take the sting off of bats. Marco is a sponge around Kyle Lohse because that's what he needs to do. He needs to learn how to command his pitches, go out there, struggle through those innings, but then bounce right back. And that's exactly what you saw Marco do in the second inning.
Now, Ron Roenicke recognizing that Estrada and Lohse are so similar that he has purposefully split up those two pitchers. And right now, the way the rotation is set up, Burgos goes tomorrow. Very similar pitcher to Estrada. But then Willie Peralta, the hard thrower, leads up to Kyle Lohse. And I think everybody feels like Lohse is going to have an impact on the entire staff, but specifically guys like Estrada and Burgos, guys who use the changeup. And he's had a pretty infectious appeal here for the Brewers, Kyle Lohse.
Oh, he's going to be excellent for him. These guys, Lohse, Estrada, Burgos, they are the ultimate pitch makers. They make pitches. They use great sequences. They all rely heavily on the changeup. That's kind of their bread and butter. That's the pitch that gets them out of trouble. That's the pitch that they set up hitters to get to. And so, when Kyle Lohse pitches, I guarantee you'll see Marco Estrada on the top step and vice versa.
Well, he picks up another strikeout. Russell Martin goes down swinging as he takes a little off, and here's a guy that just keeps getting a strikeout after strikeout on pitches that are in the 75 to 79 mile an hour range, and a beautiful changeup here to get the Pirate catcher.
Well, that's that effective changeup he throws. He can throw it at any time, and he throws it with movement, and that's what's so good about it. Not only can he throw it and he keep it down with the movement, but he'll locate that pitch. When you got those pitches and you locate your other pitch, you locate your fastball and that curveball, that makes that changeup all that much better.
Craig, you saw Marco Estrada in his first round with the Brewers. Of course, you were with him 2011 when he filled in to start the year for Zach Greinke. What's the difference in Marco now? How has he been able to evolve into this kind of starter? As McCutchen slaps one to left, and he's aboard with a one-out single.
I think Marco just trusts his stuff. I think lots of big league players, they get to the big leagues, and the first step is wondering, is my stuff for pitchers, is my stuff good enough to get big league hitters out? And I think you have a little success, you get a little experience, and then he understands that my stuff gets big league hitters out, and you end up trusting your stuff more, and it just leads to confidence, and confidence leads to success.
Estrada has never, as Mark mentioned, never had that role. He's always thrived in that underdog role. And he puts a fastball by Garrett Jones.
And to go on right what Craig was saying there, not everybody's a power pitcher. I think most guys come to the big leagues and say, oh, what you have to do, you have to throw the ball hard, you have to strike guys out. Guys aren't built that way. There's a lot of different pitchers and a lot of different ways to be successful. Marco's starting to learn a way to be successful with what he has. Good fastball, that great changeup, and being able to get that great breaking ball over the plate.
Looks like he has good command tonight. You saw Lucroy wanting that fastball up in the zone, and Marco put it right where Lucroy asked for it. Garrett Jones didn't bite. Now coming back with a changeup. Brewers looking to turn two, and a check on McCutchen, a base stealer. McCutchen with 6 stolen bases. He stays put. Jones to second. Weeks flips it over to Segura. The throw to first. Not in time. Jones beats it out. Weeks had a long throw to the bag at second, and Jones just able to beat it.
Well, there's an example of the great positioning the Milwaukee Brewers use. Ricky Weeks pulled way over into the hole. Long throw to second to Segura, and Segura feed was a little off and had to take a little extra time getting the turn here, and I think that let Jones just beat it.
Yeah, close play. Good call over there by Tim Welke, and the Pirates still alive here in this third inning. I'm sure there are a lot of nights in the big leagues when that turns out to be a hit for Jones. That ball's hit hard to right. That's got a chance to go, and Gabby Sanchez has tied it up with a 2-run home run. So the inability to turn the double play, and it leads to a 2-run home run, which squares it at 3 as Gabby Sanchez pops his 4th home run of the season.
Right here, you see Marco threw a fastball on that outside part of plate. Ball up, out over the plate, and Sanchez got good power the opposite way, went with the pitch and drove it out of the ballpark.
And here's Alvarez now. He was a key out with the bases loaded in the 1st inning. Sanchez loves hitting here at Miller Park. He had great success here as a member of the Marlins, and goes deep here tonight to tie it at 3. Now the Pirates with 5 hits already to go along with a walk. Bouncing ball. Maldonado lays out. Can he finish it off? Yes, he can. Martin Maldonado looking like a first baseman now. Drove in a couple of runs last inning, and a defensive gem here in the 3rd to end it. All tied at 3.
Month of April for the Brewers, starting out 2-8, but they have come storming back to finish above 500 and also be 1 game back in the division. So tonight on our AT&T Twitter poll, we're asking you what has been the highlight of the Brewers' April, of what has been a crazy month. So we're asking you, is it the Speedy Segura, who has 7 stolen bases and 11 multi-hit games, the return of Uni Betancourt, outstanding pitching from the Brewers bullpen, or Fine 9, that excellent 9-game winning streak which started in St. Louis and carried on here at home? We're also needing some help from Brewers fans tonight. We have been promoting the Head and Shoulders Whiff contest. We are asking Brewers fans to tweet #whiff to @Brewers. Anytime the Brewers have a strikeout or anytime throughout the game, there's no limit to how many times fans can tweet. We're trying to wrap up the month of April as the winners of the Season of the Whiff contest. And we have a special prize for Brewers fans. Ricky Weeks gets on with a double there. We're giving away a game-worn Yovani Gallardo jersey to the lucky winner of tonight's contest. Any randomly selected fan who tweets us, again, #whiff @Brewers, and a randomly selected fan will get a game-worn Yovani Gallardo jersey.
And there it is, in the flesh, number 49. Good job, Sophia. We're asking a lot out of Twitter tonight. Stand up, Twitter. As Weeks comes up with a double down the line, the Brewers put the go-ahead run at second base for Gomez. Well, you guys saw the graphic there. What are some of your moments, Augie, from the first month of April? I'm going to go with the 9-game winning streak because that put him right back in the picture.
I'll tell you, I thought the win in St. Louis was pretty special. You know, they hadn't scored in like 32 innings, and Ryan, you needed somebody to get you started. Ryan Braun hits a home run, and then Luke hits the home run in the 10th. I thought that game was something special that really turned this month around.
Yeah, that started the 9-game winning streak. Good swing by Ricky Weeks as he rips one down the left field line. Well, I know the Brewers are anxious to get his bat going. It's been a monumental struggle for Weeks. Two good at-bats tonight for Ricky. His first time up, he drew a walk and he scored a run, and now a double to start the 4th. Gomez down the line, fair ball. This will bring in a run. Weeks scores. Gomez into second base with an RBI double, and his hitting continues. This is a breakout story here in 2013. The big contract, playing with comfort, knowing that he's got a job for a while, and he has responded in a big way, Counts.
Well, this is a pretty good pitch by James McDonald. A curveball down, probably below the strike zone, but Carlos stays on it. Stays on the ball, hits it hard, gets it by Alvarez. RBI and double, another man in scoring position.
Both of the Brewers' run-producing doubles have come right over that bag at third base. Maldonado and now Gomez. And after the Pirates squeeze 2 out of Estrada in the top of the 3rd, the Brewers get him the lead right back. Back-to-back doubles for the Brewers. Yuni Betancourt had a pop-up with a couple of men on base in the 2nd inning. Yuni getting the call at third base once again tonight. Ramos Ramirez is on his way back and will be back soon as Betancourt sends that deep center field. And McCutchen with room just in front of the wall. Gomez will tag and thinking about scoring. Only he would think about scoring on that in case there was a mishandled relay. 2nd out of the inning. And Gomez ends up at third base. Nobody plays harder than Carlos Gomez.
Well, this is just good base running. You kind of wait to see what's going to happen. Once you know what's going to happen, then you go back to the base and tag. And then he just never takes anything for granted on the bases. He's always going hard. Watching Carlos Gomez run the bases, when you come to the ballpark, it's the most fun thing to do. Just watch Carlos Gomez run the bases. You can have fun.
He's one of those guys who's so fast you can hear him run the bases. Tell you what, McDonald is in the windup here. Gomez taking a huge lead at third base. He might be the only guy I could think of that might try to steal home Jackie Robinson style. And look at this. Martin's going to put McDonald in the stretch, and they will intentionally walk Maldonado. So they're going to take their chances with Marco Estrada.
And this is probably a result of last night of Maldonado getting that big 2-out hit with Gallardo on deck last night. So tonight Clint Hurdle chooses to let the pitcher try to beat him.
Well, that's a great point. And it was Maldonado who delivered in a big way in the first inning. And already a double and 2 RBIs tonight. So Hurdle will take his chances with Marco Estrada. And by the way, if you're wondering, the Brewers 9th spot in their batting order this year. So that's the pitcher. They haven't played an American League team yet. The 9th spot in the batting order is hitting 200 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Those are the Brewers pitchers this season. Estrada is 2nd on the club in hits from the pitching staff. Has 3 of them. He's singled back in the 2nd inning. That's where it stands right now. I'm sure there's a friendly wager on that final tally board come October. quickly 0-2 on Estrada. You got Gomez at third. He doubled in Weeks. Maldonado the intentional walk at first. And if nothing else, at least it allows the Brewers to clear the pitcher in this spot. And Estrada strikes out. And that will do it for the Brewers in the third, but they regain the lead. Back-to-back doubles. Weeks and Gomez. 4-3 Crew. Wisconsin is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic, don't just live, shine. And a reminder that residents of Milwaukee, Ozaki, Racine, Washington, and Waukesha counties can purchase half-price tickets to the Brewers games versus the Pirates and the Cardinals today through Friday. Some restrictions apply. Save 50% on tickets at brewers.com/5county. Marco Estrada staked to another lead here. The Brewers fell behind early. Estrada giving up a first inning run. They scored 3 in the bottom of the second. Estrada had a hit in that inning. And then the Pirates tied it on a Gabby Sanchez homer in the third. And the Brewers just getting one back. It's 4-3 Brewers as Brandon Inge is ready to lead off. And at this point, you could say that the Estrada-Inge confrontation in the first inning was maybe the swing moment so far in this game. Estrada struck him out with the bases loaded and held the Pirates to just 1 run despite 3 hits to start the inning and a walk. Estrada's been using his off speed very well. He tried to sneak a fastball by Gabby Sanchez and he hit one out to right. '29-year-old Marco Estrada, a late bloomer. That ball's hit in the air to right field. Pretty deep. Aoki with room, and there is out number 1. Well, Jerry Augustine, you're talking changeup today. What have you seen from Estrada?
Well, you know, we talked about early in a game how Marco can throw the pitch and really locate his pitch in different spots. Not only can he locate it, but just different types of movements. The first pitch, we saw a little bit of a cut. Right there's a little bit of a cut changeup that goes down on the outside part of the plate. The pitch before that was a changeup that had a little bit of movement, a little bit of fade to it. So Marco not only can locate the pitches, but he has different movements on the ball.
Well, we do have a question coming in on our Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin text the broadcast, and it has to do with that changeup of Marco Estrada. as he deals an 0-1 to Clint Barmas, and that one's fouled away. So here's the question for you, Augie. This is from Aaron in Waukesha. Did you throw a changeup, and was it your favorite pitch?
I actually didn't learn a changeup till late in my career, and it was. I wish I would have learned it earlier. But as I learned the pitch, it really became a very effective pitch as I went along. Just equalizing, let me keep the hitters off stride.
Well, there's a strikeout as Estrada punches out Clint Barmas. Maybe you can walk us through here with the Estrada changeup and what you're talking about, the fact that he runs it and can cut it a little bit as well. This was a curveball to strike out.
Right there, we see the good curveball that he does have. But when you're talking changeup, when you're talking changeup about Marco Estrada, it's really about the grip and how you hold the ball. And what you do is you kind of make a little circle on the ball on one side, and you hold the ball with your middle two fingers. And what you do with this is when you hold it, if you want the ball to sink, what you do is you take it and you throw the dot to the ground. This is the dot, you throw it to the ground, and the ball will come off and it'll have a little bit of fade. When you want the ball to cut, it's the same thing. You want the ball to sink, you turn it this way. You want the ball to cut, you bring it down this way. Do you change the grip? No, you just grip it in a little bit tighter, and that's where you get the movement and the change of speed.
And we're only talking about just fractions of inches here. That is all the movement that you need. And from a hitter's perspective, you were a left-handed hitter. Do you go up there looking for a particular type of changeup? I mean, are you looking to him to sink that pitch?
The pitchers, they can get their changeups to move both directions, or their split fingers to move different directions. Those are the pitchers that have great command of one pitch. They're masters of that pitch. It's not easy to do. But when you get to a guy like Marco who understands it, it works for him.
Well, he's come back with a nice inning after giving up 2 in the third. He retires the side in order in the fourth. Fourth inning. Well, today the Brewers join Major League Baseball in helping advance the autism awareness cause. Autism is the fastest growing developmental disability in the United States. Please join Major League Baseball and the Brew Crew in support of research advocating for the needs of individuals with autism and their families, and helping raise awareness and educating the community about autism. Just log on to mlbcommunity.org, or you can log on to autismspeaks.org. A group that is near and dear to our heart here on Brewers TV. Nori Aoki leads off as we play in the fourth, and McDonald comes high and tight. Brewers have 4 runs on 4 hits. McDonald has walked 4 batters. Another one comes high and tight, and it goes to 2 balls and a strike now. Actually, McDonald has 5 walks in this game, and there's strike 2 on Aoki. So 9 base runners, either via the hit or the walk, and we're only in the 4th.
You know, every once in a while as a pitcher, you try to get that little bit extra right there. You're trying to throw a little bit extra, and you jump out a little bit too quick. Your arm drags, and you don't throw the ball in the strike zone.
Aoki gets jammed, and a bouncer out to Inge for out number 1. We kick it down to Mark.
Well, BA, Gene Segura coming up. But Zach Benaglia, the Brewer Director of Pro Scouting, who spent a little time with the Rangers, told me Segura reminds him of Michael Young when he was coming up with Texas, saying that like Young, Segura has acted like he belonged in the majors from day one and how he carried himself on and off the field. Now, Gene, not a household name yet. The Pittsburgh newspaper report this morning, reporting on last night's game, called him Carlos Segura. But guys, the way this guy is playing, everybody's going to know his name soon enough.
Yes, that's for sure. He is certainly making a name for himself quickly. And obviously, James McDonald has been instructed to start pitching inside a little more and shake up the Brewers hitters, because he has done that twice.
Right here you see him trying to get that little extra going on the inside, and when you don't have the good control, the ball can get away from you.
And now he drills Segura. So McDonald puts one in Segura's back, with Ryan Braun coming up. And that one stung him a little bit. McDonald almost hit Aoki. He does hit Segura. Ouch.
Well, it's a curveball. It just looks like it gets away from McDonald. So no intent there, and we've seen all night McDonald has really struggled with command, and that's just a curveball that gets away from him. And let's hope Gene is all right. He's a tough kid. We know that.
Yeah, he's been able to come back pretty quickly from a couple of different injuries this year. That pitch looked like it got him on the lead elbow, and athletic trainer Dan Wright is out having a look at Segura. Segura had a pretty wicked collision with Gerardo Parra here at Miller Park. Had a knee injury and only missed 1 game, and then he cracked the fingernail of his index finger on his throwing hand and only missed 1 game there as well. Ought to be 23 years of age.
Heal fast.
Healing very fast, and not wanting to give up the playing time.
I think that's what you find so impressive, you know, that collision he had in Chicago and then with the fingernail, but mainly the collision in Chicago. You'd certainly be out 3 or 4 days. Right. You go to Chicago, it's 25 degrees out, and he's back right in the lineup.
And he takes off, and Braun breaks his bat, but shoves one into left field. And Segura keeps on trucking. So Braun with a base hit. Segura ends up at third, and the Brewers have him at the corners now with 1 away.
And this is the aggressive Brewer baseball here, putting the runners in motion. Segura on the move, gets to third base easy. Picks up the ball, rounded second. Always got to find the ball.
Well, I love what Braun did there. He rounded first aggressively as if he was going to try to go to second, and he drew the throw from Marte. And the throw was a good one, so it didn't matter. But if that one gets away from him, Segura was ready to score. Brewers are just constantly putting the pressure on the defense, especially the outfielders.
This is what the aggressive mindset that I think Ron Roenicke has done a great job instilling. This is what it produces. Everybody knows it's their responsibility that after you hit the ball, you're a base runner and you run the bases aggressively. And so you get Ryan Braun, you get your best player running the bases aggressively, and that just spills over to everybody.
Well, you wonder if Braun is going to try to steal a base here. Let's take it back to the Braun base hit. Now watch him after he rounds first base.
Well, you see him, he's thinking second. He's thinking, well, they're going to go throw to third. Big turn, and you make them stop you. He makes them stop you. He draws the throw to second. Segura takes third base easy.
1 man gone. Lucroy at the plate. Now, Lucroy has been bouncing into a lot of ground balls here lately, but he has been, over the last few seasons, the best clutch hitter the Brewers have had. He has been their top hitter with runners in scoring position.
And this is the at-bat I think you kind of like when you're struggling, because you don't have to get a hit. You have to get the ball to the outfield. Get a ball to the outfield, hit a ball in the air. You did something good for the team. You produced a run.
Won't take much to get Segura home. You see the Brewers are 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Pirates have had some success as well tonight with a couple of hits with runners in scoring position. How about this? In this particular situation with a runner at third and less than 2 outs, Lucroy has scored that runner 3 out of 7 times. And he's trying to deliver Jean Segura. Braun takes off and Lucroy fouls it back. Like Braun got a pretty good jump.
That's a very good jump. I think Braun thought he had that base stolen when he got to second.
Now, Braun's been caught quite a bit this year. He has just 1 steal. He's been caught 4 times, or 3 times, I beg your pardon. He's 1 for 4. And an ideal running count here at 2 balls and a strike. And a contact hitter at the plate, a guy who has the ability to go to right field in Lucroy.
And Augie, this is also something I think the aggressiveness does. It just divides the pitcher's attention. He's not just focused on getting the hitter out. He's worried about the guy at first base. He's worried about Segura at third base. That's what aggressive base running does, and it's got to drive a pitcher crazy.
It does. It does. And you look at what pitch you have to throw, and you figure you're down 2-0. You got to make that good pitch. You have to throw a strike. It does make a big difference on what's going on in the ball game.
Braun goes. Lucroy slaps one to left. In to score Segura. Braun to third. Lucroy on his way to second, and the Pirates don't make a throw. Heads up base running by Lucroy, and Milwaukee up 5-3. I thought the Pirates had a play on Lucroy at second base, but Barmes chose not to make the throw.
Well, he gets the ball up in the zone and hammers it to the outfield. And again, aggressive base running. But I think what happened was the Pirates were afraid because Braun was running that he may score. So he drew the throw to Barmes, and Barmes was a little concerned about having to relay to home instead of getting Lucroy at second.
Yeah, so Lucroy with an RBI. Well, that's got to feel good. He's been struggling at the plate, and given a chance to contribute, he comes up with the base hit that produces the run. 5-3 Milwaukee now, and threatening for more with runners at second and third, and just 1 away, and Ricky Weeks coming up.
And you know, that's what Craig was talking about, that aggressive play. You watch LaCroix right out of the batter's box. He was off and running, and that's the aggressiveness. Everybody doing their little bit to help you score runs and make the other team make mistakes.
We have seen Ron Roenicke use the squeeze bunt quite a bit over his 3 years as the manager, but you've rarely seen it with Ricky Weeks. You've never seen it with Ricky Weeks. He rarely bunts. So he's up there asking Weeks to drive him home. And a good block by Russell Martin keeps the runners at second and third. And Weeks is ahead 2-0. Roenicke has stuck with his second baseman. Hoping to see that bat turn around, because it is a big run producing stick when he's going well. And a strike from McDonald. He put a wrinkle on that one to get back to the count. Weeks walked and scored in the second. He doubled and scored in the third. Second and third, 1 away. And another spinner misses. 3 balls and a strike now.
He's going after Ricky with a steady diet of curveballs here. That's 4 straight. Let's see if he behind in the count, he sticks with the curveball.
3-1, line back up the middle, base hit. In to score Braun. They're going to send Lucroy. The throw is off the mark. Lucroy scores. And Ricky Weeks delivers a 2 RBI single for Weeks. And the Brewers have a 7-3 lead.
You gotta like what Ricky Weeks did right there. He's ahead in the count. He got a fastball. Didn't try to pull ball. Just went right back up the middle for the base hit. Put a really good swing on that ball. Scored the 2 runs.
It's so big to see Ricky bust out tonight, like the fan just had up there on that sign, because he's a big part of that offense. And this is what makes this offense so good. It doesn't have to be the same guy every night. We get Betancourt last night. We get Segura last night. We get Gomez last night. Tonight, Weeks and Lucroy coming up with big hits. That's why you can put together the best offense in the National League. You get contributions all the way through your lineup.
You said it, Craig. I mean, you talk about Lucroy's at-bat in a situation with a little bit of heat on him, but there are ways to deliver a run without a base hit. And what does he do? He comes up with a double. And the Brewers are racking up the hits tonight. That is now 7 hits for Milwaukee. 3 consecutive hits for the Brewers after Segura was hit by the pitch.
Sometimes you get yourself in those situations where you don't have to get that hit. You just take a little bit of pressure off yourself. You're not asking yourself to do so much. You're just telling yourself, get a ball to the outfield. Get a pitch up in the strike zone and hit it to the outfield. Just takes a little pressure off yourself.
Those are when the hits usually come, right? And a game that is defined by the less is more philosophy. It's not like football. You can't just dial it up to 5th gear and go at it as hard as you can. Got to play this game relaxed, and the Brewers are certainly doing that. Now Gomez trying to keep it going here. McDonald checking on Weeks a couple of times. Ricky will run. He'll pick his spots to steal a base, and you figure this would be a matchup he would try to take second base.
You know, and then you get a pitcher like McDonald, who's a predominantly fastball pitcher. You get him in the counts, you add at the bat, you're patient, you get him in good hitters counts. Then he has to come and he gets that good pitch hit like you talked about earlier, Craig. You talked about, you know, when you're struggling, you look for that pitch. Everybody's a little bit different. You look for that zone, and that's where it really becomes important.
Now we'll have to mark this date for Weeks, and hopefully this is a harbinger of things to come for Ricky. He is a streaky hitter. He was off to a great start this year before a long slump. He started, then stopped, and Gomez swings out of his helmet on a breaking ball from McDonald. He's good for one of those a game. 7-3 Brewers. 3 runs in here in the 4th. They have scored in every inning with the exception of the first against McDonald tonight, and still no activity in the Pirate bullpen. Yeah, McDonald and Martin are not matching up very well with the signs. Well, how about this pitch count for James McDonald? He's already at 80. When the Brewers scored 3 in the 2nd, it took him 30 pitches to get through that frame.
No easy innings. Constant pressure on the other team leads to runs, leads to the pitcher just having to work hard every single inning and feel like he's always kind of on that edge of making mistakes.
Now the final game of the series tomorrow. It is a non-televised game, but the game's not on. You can still see all the plays and at-bats that matter most. It's called Brewers Squeeze Play. It's a 30-minute condensed version of tomorrow's game. 7 p.m. Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Can I still come sit up in the booth?
Sure, you should come and practice. Not that you need it because you're doing a great job, but you'll be here representing the booth tomorrow. None of us will be here. Gomez lays off. Craig Counsell and Jerry Augustine are filling in for Bill Schroeder these last 2 days, doing a terrific job. Bill is in Minneapolis attending the funeral of his mother-in-law. His wife Kate's mom passed away. We certainly want to send our best. And we encourage you to send your notes to Bill Schroeder via his Twitter account at Brewers Fan Camp. As Gomez yanks one foul. Bill will return to the broadcast on Thursday. Craig will return to the baseball operations side, hanging out up there in the suite, evaluating players and broadcasters and fans and everything else. And Augie, what do you have planned on
I will be
Thursday?
back on Brewers Live.
You're the Brewers Live guy Thursday, huh?
So,
all right.
Davey Nelson's going to be gone. He's attending his high school reunion.
Oh my goodness! Didn't know they had high schools
I
back
won't
then.
tell you what number, but
Well, the final game of the series tomorrow will feature Hiram Burgos for the Brewers. It'll be his second Miller Park start, his third overall, and Jeanmar Gomez enters into the Pirates starting rotation, taking the place of Jonathan Sanchez, who was released today as Weeks is thrown out at second base. Russell Martin, a perfect throw to the bag, and Weeks is gone, a caught stealing for out number 2.
Well, let's see if he gets him here. Looks like Weeks got a pretty good jump. Well, that's a perfect throw. Put the throw right on the bag, and I think he just got him before his hand got in there.
A good call by Mike Everett. And we talk a lot about the running game, you know, from a defensive perspective, the pitcher, the catcher, but also the infielder takes responsibility there. As you see how Inns takes that throw just about on the bag. Gomez to left field. That's going to get down a base hit. Carlos Gomez. 2 and 3 hits a day for Gomez. He's one of the hottest going in the National League, and it is now a sustained hot streak. We're talking about 2 weeks of hitting here for Gomez. 2 more hits today. He had an RBI double in the third. He walked and scored in the second. And Gomez's batting average is at .365. Now Betancourt. And a pitch out, checking on Gomez at first. That was interesting. Gomez not running. Since you're up, you might as well throw, right?
Well, that's just the league starts to know that Russell Martin will pick and guys won't take as big a secondary leads.
Betancourt gets jammed. Jones is under it, and that will retire the side. But the Brewers put up another crooked number. Ricky Weeks a big part of it. Ryan Braun with a base hit. Put runners at the corners. Lucroy delivers with an RBI. And then Weeks plates 2 with a base hit back up the middle. 7-3. Brew Crew. course, rewind. The Brewers back at it offensively. It was Maldonado delivering with a 2 RBI double in the second inning. Marco Estrada had a base hit that kept the inning going. It was an error that led to the 3rd run, and then the Brewers adding to it with a Gomez double in the 3rd, and they put up another 3 spot in the 4th. Lucroy and Weeks with RBIs. 7-3 Milwaukee. And here we go to the 5th inning. Marco Estrada staked to a lead, much like Gallardo last night. We'll see how he runs through the 3rd time through the batting order now. Starling Marte leading off. He'll be followed by Martin and then Andrew McCutchen. And what has always been a swing inning, Augie, for Marco Estrada, that 3rd trip through the batting order.
Yes, it is. And you know, the one thing, it's about establishing his pitches, and he's all about getting that fastball over the plate as the game goes along. He changes it up a little bit. He starts using his breaking ball a little bit more, but everything is centered around being able to locate that fastball and use that changeup effectively.
1-2, and Marte fouls it off. Marte had a hit, and he scored the 1st run back in the 1st inning. Bounce out to 3rd is next time up. Good looking young player here. He is just bursting onto the scene. He hit a home run in his very first major league at bat last year against Houston. Hard hit grounded to Segura, in and out of his glove in a flash, and the speedy Marte is out number 1.
Well, Gene just gets rid of that ball so fast. He recognizes that he's got a fast base runner, a fast hitter, and that ball is in and out of his glove in a flash.
Breaks his spirit. Not sure Marte's ever been thrown out by that much. So 1 gone for Russell Martin, who's 1 for 2. And he'll do that on occasion. Martin is a very good athlete. For a catcher, he's fast. There's a lot of talk this spring about Martin perhaps playing shortstop for Team Canada in the WBC. That ball's hit well deep center field. Back is Gomez looking up, and that one's way out of here. Off the scoreboard, Russell Martin with the 2nd Pirates home run of the night. That's his 6th of the season, and it's now 7-4.
Right there, Marco was behind him, tried to sneak a fastball, got the ball up over the plate, and when Marco gets in trouble, the blitz usually comes with the location and with the fastball. Right here we see the pitch up right down the middle of the plate, up about thigh high. Martin hits the ball out of the ballpark.
It had a great sound to it. I wasn't sure it was going to go that far, but he hammers it off the Miller Lite sign. That is a booming home run by Russell Martin. And now Andrew McCutchen sends one deep. That is way back and gone. Back-to-back home runs for the Pirates. And it's now 7-5 Brewers. 3 home runs against Estrada tonight.
Now you're seeing where Marco's getting hurt with his pitches. It has been all on fastballs and balls up over the plate in good fastball situations. And this is where Marco sometimes gets in a little bit of trouble, trying to make that pitch and just locates the ball up over the plate. Here we see the fastball, same spot almost that Russell Martin hit his. McCutchen does a nice job of staying inside the ball, drives the ball out of the ballpark.
Now that is McCutchen's 3rd hit of the night, and Brewers are certainly hoping to finish this series without him getting hot. That has not worked here this evening as Lucroy quickly out to the mound. He's joined by Rick Kranitz and Ron Renicky and Jerry Naron, the bench coach. Checking the lineup card. No activity in the bullpen right now. Estrada sitting on a 2-run lead, trying to get through this 5th inning. Now you got another power threat at the plate in Garrett Jones. Jones is 0 for 2. A couple of balls on the ground, and he's way out in front of that one. Point of impact. 2 long home runs by Martin on the left and McCutchen on the right.
Those are the still shots of what you want to look like right at contact.
Ball and 2 strikes on Jones. And he doesn't chase the high fastball. Jones is probably most comfortable at first base, but Gabby Sanchez getting most of the innings at first base. So Jones, in order to keep his bat in the lineup, which is a big bat, Clint Hurdles put him out in the outfield. There's a swing and a miss, and Estrada comes back with a strikeout, number 6 for Marco Estrada.
Right here we see a fastball just on the outer half of plate, but you see Marco put a little tail on the fastball, a little two-seam fastball running away from the left-hander, got the ball out of the way, was able to get it by him for the strikeout.
And don't forget, you see a whiff, tweet a whiff at Brewers, trying to win some money for the local RBI program here, courtesy of Head and Shoulders. So 2 gone. Gabby Sanchez, who hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning. The last 4 Pirates runs delivered by the long ball. On the ground, Segura backhands it. He's got some time. Good throw. Inning over. Another nice play by Segura. A couple of home runs by the Pirates have tightened it up here at Miller Park. It is 7-5 Brewers. Fast delivery of the game. How about the defense of Martin Maldonado tonight?
Looking like an athlete out there. That's a catcher playing out there, but he makes a great diving play. Gets all the way up, flips to Marco for the out. Got a little first base action for Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic also.
Well, that was a good experience for him, playing first base in a pressure-packed environment in his home country in the WBC. And that was a good play. The Pirates had just scored 2 runs in that inning when Maldonado made that play to end the frame. And he's made some noise with his bat as well. He had a 2 RBI double in the 2nd inning that gave the Brewers the lead. A lead they have not given up, but it has tightened up after a pair of home runs by Pittsburgh. It's now 7-5. Probably seen the end of Marco Estrada. Ron Roenicke already has Blake Lally in the on-deck circle, and activity in the bullpen. Little half swing, and he goes. Maldonado is down on strikes. Out number 1. There's Brandon Kinsler getting loose. Looks like he'll have the 6th. A reminder that Fox Sports is proud to partner with Johns Hopkins Medicine, one of this year's Fox Sports supports charities. Johns Hopkins is at the forefront of groundbreaking research into autoimmune disorders like multiple sclerosis and lupus. Join us in the fight against autoimmune diseases. Donate now by visiting hopkinsmedicine.org/Fox. Here is Blake Lally in a pinch hitting role for the Brewers. The Pittsburgh native. And Lally into center field. McCutchen a few steps back, out number 2. Two up, two down for McDonald here in the 5th inning. And back to the top of the order, and Marichka Aoki. By the way, you can close the book on Marco Estrada. He's in line for the win. He's going to have to turn it over to his bullpen early tonight. But he goes 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. All of them were earned. Had a walk and 6 strikeouts. And that's the way the game goes, right? He called it one of his best outings of the year in his last time out as far as stuff goes against the Padres, and he took the loss with 6 1/3 and gave up 1 earned run. Tonight, without his best stuff, gives up 5 earned runs and has a chance to win this game if the bullpen can take it the rest of the way.
Well, I think if you ask Marco tonight, I think it all starts with the command of the fastball. His changeup is his pitch, but it just looked like tonight he didn't have that good command of locating that fastball well. Got it up a couple times. All the home runs were hit off of fastballs that were up in the zone, and for Marco, he's got to keep that ball down in the zone.
Well, Nori Aoki tonight is 0 for 3. The Brewers have 8 hits tonight, 7 runs on those 8 hits. Baseball gets loose in the outfield. Full count to Aoki, trying to get Segura to the plate. And a roller out to Barmes. Got him by a step, and a 1-2-3 inning for the first time tonight by James McDonald. 7-5 Brewers. We're on our way to the 6th.
They lead the Pirates 7-5 top 6. Time for our minor league report. Nashville second baseman Scooter Gennett 2 for 5 last night in the Sound's loss at Oklahoma City. He scored 2 runs, had 2 RBI, extending his hitting streak to 10 games. Gennett, who turns 23 tomorrow, is hitting .411 and making a strong case for promotion to Milwaukee, guys.
Well, this has been a big story for the Brewers this year. You know him very well, Craig. I mean, he's a guy that you've worked with, you've seen a lot. He's hitting over .400 this year through the first month of the season at AAA.
He's a kid that's always hit. He's always been a very good hitter. Just a feel for the barrel, feel for spraying hits all over the field. The defense has been a work in progress, getting better for sure. and just getting better at being consistent on defense, making every play. In the big leagues, they want you to make every play, make the routine play every time. He's getting better at that.
Well, he's a guy we could see here in Milwaukee before the year is out. All right, Augie, new pitcher. The Brewers are going to the bullpen. Estrada is out, and Brandon Kintzler gets the 6th inning here tonight.
Yeah, Brandon Kintzler is making his 11th appearance. Pitched last night. Pitched a perfect 9th inning, striking out 1. He's 2-0 with a 3.70 ERA.
Well, he is unscored upon in 8 of his 10 appearances this season. Kintzler finishing up last night's game and able to come right back here tonight. And he will deal with Pedro Alvarez and then a couple of right-handed batters in Brandon Inge and Clint Barmas. Bottom of the Pirates order. 7-5 Brewers. The Pirates chipped away in the 5th with a couple of home runs. They went back-to-back. Russell Martin and Andrew McCutchen. Alvarez is 0 for 2 tonight, and in the series he is now 0 for 6 at the plate. Been on a pretty good stretch though. Prior to yesterday's game and the series starting, he had 10 hits in a 7-game stretch, most of those on the road. And Kintzler strikes him out. So Alvarez with that big swing is Kintzler's first strikeout victim.
You know, that's one thing about Brandon Kintzler. He's a guy who's going to be around the plate. Right here we talk about the changeup for Marco Estrada. Brandon Kintzler has a good sinking fastball, hard slider, and now he has that real nice changeup that he's developed. It's really been a big pitch for him.
Well, and especially against left-handed hitters. And it seems like tonight counts. The changeup has been the theme of this ball game. McDonald really doesn't have one. He's been relying on fastball, curveball, but between Estrada and Kintzler, these two guys have racked up 7 strikeouts tonight. We're only in the 6th inning.
Oh, I love that slow-mo pick when you see that, like Augie said, that him turning over that changeup with his hand, getting that little fade down and away.
It's that late movement. It comes in and it just looks like that fastball's got that late movement sinking, and it's so hard to stay off the pitch because you commit yourself as a hitter. And a great pitch, and if you can locate it, even better.
Lucroy wants the slider. Kintzler the 1-2, and Inge able to lay off. You think about these two guys, Marco Estrada and Brandon Kintzler, the 2 pitchers tonight. Take it back 6 years. The big leagues was a long way away for both of these guys. Kintzler signing out of the Northern League, independent ball.
Well, I think the one thing you see out of Brandon, he got an opportunity. He's got good velocity on his fastball, has a good movement. But you know what? In order to make it, you got to, as a pitcher, you have to show consistency, that you can locate pitches and do it on a consistent basis. And I tell you one thing, you got to give guys like Marco Estrada and you got to give like Brandon, because you got to give those guys a lot of credit because they stuck with it. They were good students of the game, and now they're in the big leagues.
And Inge gets a breaking ball and dumps one into left field for a base hit. So with 1 out, Brandon Inge extends his hitting streak to 7 games. Just returning from the disabled list last week. And now a man on, bringing the tying run to the plate in Clint Barmas. Barmas is hitless tonight. He's 0 for 2. And a ground out and a strikeout. At the pitcher spot coming up next. Yeah, both bullpens are active right now. Brian Morris out of the Pirates bullpen. Brewers are set up to turn 2 with Barmas at the plate. And a sinker ball pitcher on the mound, and Brandon Kintzler.
And sinker ballers are set up to get ground balls, and they can get 2 outs with 1 pitch. And that's what Brandon's looking for here. looking for a ground ball and let the middle infielders turn one.
And Barmas able to elevate one, and he sends one to left field. Very similar to the Inge base hit. And the bottom of this Pirates order making a little noise now, and 2 men are aboard with 1 out. And that is going to get McDonald out of this game on a hanging breaking ball from Kinsler.
You know, that's what you get with when you're trying to get the ball, someone to hit the ball on the ground. It all comes with location. It's not so much the pitch all the time. It's where you locate it. That time, Brennan tried to throw a little bit of a breaking ball, wanted it down his zone. Ball got away from him up in his zone, and Barmas did a nice job of hitting the ball in the left field for a base hit.
Now, interesting here, Clint Hurdle goes to his bench and Jose Tabata. But counts he originally had Snyder on deck, Travis Snyder. And wondering why the decision here for Tabata instead with 2 on.
Well, here's where the cat and mouse game starts between the managers. Here's where the managers start to it's a battle of wits with each other. I think Clint Hurdle saw Mike Gonzalez up in the bullpen and realizes that if he goes to Travis Snyder, Ron Renicke's going to go to the lefty. And so he elected to go with Stick. He liked the matchup. Hurdle liked the matchup of Tabata against Kinsler a little better. So he exchanges Tabata for Snyder, and Tabata will take the at bat against Kinsler.
And he'll hit for James McDonald, who goes 5 innings with 7 earned runs. So both starters going 5 tonight. And this one will belong to the bullpens the rest of the way. Tabata with a home run and 3 runs batted in. And there was a point in his career just a couple of years ago, the Pirates thought they had found a regular everyday player for a while. They gave him a long-term contract. And Tabata has not responded well after signing that multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal. Tabata did homer in St. Louis on Sunday. He's only 24 years of age. Signed a 6-year deal a couple of seasons ago that takes him through the 2016 season. And Kinsler is behind him. 2 balls and no strikes. And the fire burning hot now for the Pirates. At the top of the order coming up next.
This is a big hitter in the game here. The top of the Pirates order has been red hot. McCutchen starting to swing the bat well. This is the guy Kinsler wants.
With a fastball on the inside corner.
We talked earlier about picking spots in your lineup to go after guys. And when you know Marte, Russell Martin, Andrew McCutchen are on their way, you know this is the hitter that's important to get out.
2 on, 1 out. And the 2-1 pitch. This is inside. 3 balls and a strike on Tabata. Tabata's not a big home run threat. Most he's ever had in a season is 4. Kinsler could use a ground ball. And the 3-1 fouled away. Had a big cut. Count goes to 3-2.
Yeah, you get in this situation, and with Kinsler, you made a couple pitches on the inside part of the plate. They were pretty good pitches, but still what you want to do is you want to get something with some movement on the ball, whether it be your fastball, slider, if you throw the change. Whatever you have the most confidence here, get some movement, try to keep the ball down in the strike zone.
See Berg Badenhop in the bullpen. He's ready if needed. 3-2 pitch on the way, and a bouncing ball toward the middle. Weeks is there, steps on the bag, throw to first, not in time. Bang, bang play at first. Weeks did a terrific job trying to deal with the bag at second base. He got the out at second, and Renicky wants an explanation from Tim Welke, the crew chief.
This is a real nice play by Ricky. That's a much tougher play than it looks like, because as the fielder, you think the ball's going to hit the bag. So you worry about it hitting the bag first. Gets the hop, takes his time, makes a good throw. I think he got him pretty easily there.
Boy, it looked like he was out. And this will be the definitive look here. Oh, and the Brewers come up on the wrong side of that call. The Pirates get a huge break. That would have ended the inning. Instead, first and third with 2 outs, and Roenicke will have to go back to his bullpen. So a missed call at first, and we play on here in the 6th. We'll take a timeout. Disaster for the Brewers. They're upset they didn't get the double play, but this was close to hitting the bag at second.
Well, Ricky's seeing it is right over the base. Then he feels it. He knows the runner's going to come in right after him, but he still gets off a strong throw. See that ball going right over the base. Runner coming at him. He did it about as well as you could do it.
And you see the call at first, the safe call, but the definitive look definitely out. There aren't many second basemen with that kind of arm to make that throw. Tabata safe. The Pirates catch a break. And Ron Roenicke forced to go to his bullpen, Augie. He's going to go with his ground ball specialist, Bert Badenhop, with 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
You're right. He's making his 12th appearance. He's 0-1 with a 4.91 ERA. But what he wants him to do here is throw that good sinking fastball and get a ground ball.
And Marte sends that one deep center field. This is way back. Gomez at the wall, leaps, cannot get it, and a 3-run home run. They're calling that a double for now. I thought it cleared the wall. Well, if it stays as a double, it'll be a 2-run double to tie the game. And I can't imagine the umpires wouldn't go look at this one. On the first pitch from Badenhop, and let's take another look. Gomez, yep, that's cleared the wall, I believe. Now remember, now they can go to review, but only the crew chief, Tim Welke, the first base umpire, can make that call, and that is clearly over the wall. And this is going to turn into a 3-run home run, and the Pirates are going to have the lead here. Boy, that missed call by Welke at first is looming large here. Well, Marte wasting no time with Bert Badenhop, and the Pirates have come all the way back. Now this replay will be run from New York. There's a room next to the Pirates dugout, and 3 umpires go down. You always leave 1 umpire on the field, and it'll be Tim Welke's decision, the crew chief. And in New York, they've assembled these highlights, and that's going to be a home run confirmed by Welke, and the Pirates have an 8-7 lead just like that. Starling Marte with his 2nd hit, and Pittsburgh with a 3-run home run to take the lead here. Well, the Brewers should have been out of the inning. 8-7 Pirates. And now Russell Martin. And to your point, Counts, about the top of the order. It's been a top of the order that's had some success. And Marte made Badenhop pay.
Well, Kinsler made his pitch to Tabata, got the ground ball. But with the safe call, Marte hits the big homer.
And now Martin pulls it foul. 2 balls and a strike on Russell Martin. Now the Brewers at one point had a 7-3 lead in this game. They led 3-1 early after 2 innings, and then 7-3 after 4. The Pirates have scored 5 unanswered and now lead 8-7. The 2-1. Martin takes strike 2. A bullpen that has been so stingy during this stretch of winning baseball for the Brewers. Giving up some runs here is Martin into right. Aoki there to make the play for the out. And the inning is over, but it is the Pirates who put a 3 spot on the board, and they now lead 8-7. Home run by Starling Marte, and it's 8-7 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. And a reminder that this coming Sunday, May 5th, the Brewers take on the Cardinals at 1:10 p.m. And all fans in attendance will receive a Corey Hart bobblehead. Compliments of Quick Trip. Visit Brewers.com for tickets. And the Brewers are going to be wearing their 1913 American Association uniforms. Back when they were a minor league ball club here in Milwaukee, they won the championship that year. So a brand new ball game, and the Pirates with the lead will give the ball to Vin Mazzaro as we go to the bottom of the 6th. And it will be Segura, Braun, and Lucroy coming up.
Yeah, Mazzaro pitched in last night's game, pitched a scoreless inning.
Segura into right center field. McCutchen is on the run. That ball's got a chance, and it's gone! Mean Gene Segura ties it up on the first pitch from Mazzaro. One month does not a season make, but this kid is a star.
He has been great. Opposite field. Slider out over the plate. And he drives it over the right center field fence.
Homered last night to center field. Goes to right center tonight. There's Braun on the first pitch. Slices one into the seats.
You know what?
How about his night tonight, Augie? He has 2 walks. He was hit by a pitch, and now a game-tying home run.
It's just so impressive. You know, you hear you got a new pitcher coming in the ball game. You're probably looking for some kind of a fastball up over the plate. If it's good to hit, you're going to drive it. Here he gets a slider out in the outer half of the plate, puts a good swing on it, hits the ball out of ballpark, tie the ball game.
Now this is the final game of the month of April, and Segura is making a very strong case for the player of the month in the National League. On base 4 times tonight. Scored 2 runs. Now 3 homers. 9 runs batted in, and playing a fantastic shortstop. Oh, what a story. Ball's flying out of the ballpark tonight.
We talked earlier about ideal hitting conditions, and the ball is definitely going, and I've got a feeling we haven't seen our last homer tonight.
Well, the Pirates have hit 4 home runs. Remember, the Brewers hit 5 last night. And Segura with the first of the night. Braun rips one back up the middle. Base hit. So a good start to the 6th. A run is in. A man is on. Nobody out for Lucroy. And Ryan Braun has 2 more hits tonight.
Nice job of getting a fastball over the middle of the plate and going right back up the middle. Not trying to do too much with it. Putting a good swing on it for a base hit.
Tell you what, Augie, that bullpen phone starts ringing now, and they're going to be heading for the restroom or for the exits.
You know, it's just one of those nights, you know, but you know what? You got a job to do. You got a tie ball game. You have an opportunity to win the ball game, and you know, your bullpen, that's where you win or lose a lot of games during the season. That's sometimes where pennants are won. So big for the Brewers bullpen to come through tonight.
Well, and a pick me up by the offense tonight. After Milwaukee was shut out on Sunday, Clayton Kershaw went 8 shutout innings. He and Brandon Lee combined for the shutout. 3rd time that Milwaukee had been shut out this year. They have come back roaring here at home. Ryan Braun and Gabby Sanchez, teammates at Miami, having a chat at first.
And you see Braun mouthing to Gabby Sanchez, ball is flying tonight.
Nice. The lip reader, Craig Counsell. I didn't know you could do that. That makes me a little nervous now moving forward. You got to do the old Mike Maddox thing now when you're around Counts. You got to cover up. I'm going to call the rest of this game like this. Or Rick Cranny. Cranny's got this going. 0-2 to Lucroy. Back up the middle, hits the foot of Mazzaro. Barmes the throw to first, and it's not in time. So Tim Welke has one going to favor the Brewers, much to the fans' delight. Lucroy beats it out. That'll be an infield hit. And 3 straight hits to start this inning, and we'll see how close it was.
Quite a play by Barmes here just to make this a play.
Yeah, Lucroy fired up. He has 2 hits tonight. Wow. Just bang, bang. And that is on a super slow-mo there. And it goes the way of the Brewers. I tell you, if Welke would have called him out, this place would have erupted. Let's check it on Mazzaro. It looked like it caught him on the bottom of the cleat. He's saying he's okay. Could be a little unnerving for a pitcher to, he's saying he's all right, and everybody's saying, are you sure? Right off the shoe. That was some kind of play by Barmes. Probably didn't do much damage.
Might need a new cleat.
Yeah, might have broke it off. Well, he's coming out anyway. So he says he's fine to pitch, and Hurdle doesn't want to carry on here. Mazzaro gives up 3 hits to start the inning. The Brewers have tied it up. Next man up for the Pirates. Field Clinic. And Craig, how about you break down the at-bats of Rickie Weeks tonight?
I love that Rickie's being aggressive with the fastball. Rickie's a fastball hitter. Tonight he's laid off breaking balls, taking good aggressive swings at fastballs. Got 2 line drives and a walk to show for it.
And he scored 2 runs. He drove in 2 runs with a base hit single in the 4th, and he'll be the next man up for the Brewers as the Pirates go to their bullpen once again. And you see what Rickie Weeks has done tonight at the plate, presented by Wendy's. His best night offensively in a while, and he'll step up in a big spot with 2 on and nobody out. A run is already in on the Segura homer. As Clint Hurdle goes to his bullpen, and Brian Morris.
Yeah, Brian Morris is in his 2nd stint with Pittsburgh, being called up today, and last appearance and only appearance he did pitch back on April 15th against the St. Louis Cardinals when he pitched 3 scoreless innings.
Pitching out of the bullpen in AAA Indianapolis. And pitching well out of that AAA bullpen, gets the chance in the big leagues. So here we go. Braun at second, had a single. Lucroy an infield hit. He's at first. All tied at 8 on a night for the hitter at Miller Park. Weeks behind in the count. Brian Morris. And the 0-1, Weeks lays off. That is a 90-mile-an-hour breaking ball, maybe a cut fastball that you can tell that is Morris's money pitch. He's not going to go with anything but his A pitch in this spot.
Two well-located pitches on Fox Tracks, down and away, hard sliders.
One ball, one strike on Weeks. And he's able to lay off, so he goes to another one. Boy, Rickie, and you just talked about it. He's done a great job tonight laying off that breaking ball, and he's put himself in a couple of fastball counts, and he has delivered tonight. Morris hasn't been around much. He made just 5 appearances last year. This is just his 2nd in the big leagues this season. The 2-1 in there for a strike. Weeks asking Scott Berry, the home plate umpire, if that was up, or maybe he was telling Scott Berry that was up. Fox Tracks had it right at the top of the zone. 2-2. Braun at second. Lucroy at first. And Weeks able to lay off.
And this is where the great cat and mouse game within the game. The Pirates know Ricky has had 2 hits on fastballs tonight. So what do? Throw them all sliders. And it's up to Ricky to be disciplined enough to get that ball in the strike zone. I got a feeling slider coming right here.
Which would be 6 in a row for Brian Morris. See what he gives him. Weeks has worked it full. And the payoff pitch. And Weeks back up the middle. There to make the play is in. Steps on the bag. Throw to first in time for the out. And a double play for the Pirates. 2 quick ones with 1 swing of the bat. 2 big outs for the young Morris. Now Braun ends up at third base with 2 gone. And here's Carlos Gomez. Game is tied at 8. Segura homered to start this inning. Gomez thinking about a bunt. Not a bad idea. Alvarez was very deep at third base.
Trying to catch the third baseman napping a little bit with 2 outs and just trying to get a bunt in fair territory there. And with Carlos's speed, he'll beat that out if he can just get that down fair.
Alvarez cheats in now, and Gomez. Oh, what a catch at first by Sanchez. Perfectly positioned. And instead of an extra base hit and a lead, the inning ends. But Jean Segura keeps his hot start going. What a month. He ties it at 8 as we go to the 7th. The 7th inning here at Miller Park, game 2 of this series with the Pirates. Now the Badgers have a new football coach, but not many people know who Gary Anderson is. You can go to Fox Sports Wisconsin's webpage, foxsportswisconsin.com. Jesse Temple has the story introducing you to Gary Anderson, the new head man with the Badgers. Spring practice is underway. Here's Andrew McCutchen now to start it. Bert Badenhop back on the mound. Badenhop gave up the 3-run home run to Starling Marte, briefly putting the Pirates in the lead. And McCutchen lines one over the head of Segura. Base hit. A 4-hit night for Andrew McCutchen. He's 4 for 4. Let's take you back to the final play of the 6th inning. Gomez rips one, and Sanchez playing off the line. Craig makes the play to end the frame.
Well, that's a heck of a play. That's probably a triple down in the corner with Carlos' speed, but Sanchez climbs the ladder for a big out.
Tough night for Baden Hupp tonight. Faced 3 batters, gave up 2 hits, and he is out. Gorzelani is next. We'll take a timeout and then set him up. Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. This one feels like a fight to the finish tonight. Ron Roenicke, Clint Hurdle, matching wits this evening. The 2 managers are deep into their bullpens now, as Roenicke goes with Tom Gorzelani. The oft-used Gorzelani is out there for the 14th time this season. And he will take over with a man at first base and nobody out, Augie.
Yeah, he's last pitched a perfect inning on Saturday in the 7th inning and been unscored on 11 out of 13 outings that he's been in. And opponents are hitting just .091 against Tom Gorzelani.
He's done a nice job this year. He is currently 3rd in the league in games pitched. Brad Ziegler leads the league in games pitched with 17. Those are the numbers for Gorzelani on the splits. Has not allowed a base hit to a right-hander. He's got McCutchen at first. And here's Garrett Jones. Lefty on lefty matchup. Brewers have the shift on again. And Jones, a little half swing. A pop up that's going to fall for a base hit. McCutchen around second. He'll stop there. Oh, and an excuse me swing. Gomez can't find a handle on the baseball. Crazy play. Looked like Jones just playing a little pepper as he serves one into center.
Just a check swing, base hit. Just didn't even swing. Just put his bat in the zone, and Gomez plays hot potato for a couple minutes.
Man, that's going to end up on some blooper reels. Baseball slippery. Now the Pirates threatening again. 2 on. And here's Gabby Sanchez, who has hit one of the 4 Pittsburgh home runs tonight. Brewers in desperate need of a ground ball double play. And Gorzelani drops a changeup in there for a strike. Gorzelani, the former Pirate, pitched for the Pirates and the Cubs and the Washington Nationals last season. Signed a 2-year deal with the Brewers. Little half swing, they'll ask. Yes, he did, says Tim Welke, and the count goes to 0-2 against Sanchez.
Yeah, you know what makes Gorzelani so effective? He's got a good sinking fastball with that little changeup, but he's got a hard breaking ball, slider type breaking ball that he can throw down in, and that's exactly what he just did to Gabby Sanchez.
Big hitter here. All tied at 8, 2 on, nobody out, and an 0-2 pitch. Sanchez able to lay off.
Get ahead like that, you get an opportunity to expand the strike zone. So you get the hitter to try to chase something out of the strike zone. You don't have to throw a strike 0-2. You kind of got to pitch to waste or see if the fish are biting, so to speak.
Sanchez had a huge cut on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball, trying to hit that one to the Harley-Davidson deck out there. Not exactly a two-strike approach from Gabby Sanchez. You remember Ryan Braun, they were at first base. Braun, as Craig pointed out, was saying, hey, the ball's flying today. I think he wanted to make sure it flew. The numbers against Gorzelani. Sanchez does have a home run against him in just 5 at-bats. The 1-2 pitch down in the dirt. He doesn't bite.
And by throwing that last fastball where Gabby Sanchez took that big swing, he kind of wanted to come back with something down in, hopefully to induce a ground ball. Something off speed, something hard. Something off speed more with some break on it. Went with a little breaking ball down and in, and Gabby was able to fight it off.
Pirates scored 3 in the 6th. All those runs, or 2 of those 3 runs belonging to Kinsler. And a 2-strike pitch is popped up foul and out of play. Count remains at 2-2. There was a stretch there. The Brewers bullpen went 15 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings before finally surrendering a run. But tonight, Kinsler has given up a pair. Burke Badenhop gave up a run in the 6th inning. That 3-run home run by Marte. And the 2 runners out there belonging to Badenhop. Ready for a 2-2. Got him. Gorzelani strikes him out, and a big out for the Brewers here in the 7th inning. 1 away.
One thing that Tom Gorzelani did against Sanchez here, threw him a hard fastball away with a lot of breaking balls. Came back with a 2-2 pitch with a little changeup on the outer half of the plate. Got him to swing and miss.
And Sanchez knew it. The one he missed a couple of pitches ago when he took the big swing. So another lefty coming up in Alvarez. And a swing and a miss. Alvarez taking a big cut. He's actually held his own against lefties this year. His batting average against lefties much higher than his overall batting average. He's hitting .222 against lefties. Does have a home run this season against the left-handed pitcher. And did he go? They will ask. No, he didn't. Able to check his swing. That was close.
You know, as a left-hand pitcher, you get in this situation, you're always looking for that ground ball, trying to make a pitcher get a ground ball. But you have a hitter like Alvarez who likes to open up and drive the ball at a ballpark. If you go in on him, you want to make sure you get that ball in off the plate. Otherwise, you want to stay strong on that outside part plate with your breaking ball and your fastball.
Alvarez is 0 for 3 tonight. And he put that fastball right by him. 94-mile-an-hour heater from Gorzelani.
We're seeing good velocity on the fastball tonight from Gorzelani. 94 miles an hour.
Reaching back for a little extra. See what he does with him here. 1-2 the count. And Alvarez pops it foul. That one's headed for the seats.
Right there, Gorzelani came back with the breaking ball, and it kind of dropped down a little bit try a little bit more of a sidearm type breaking ball. But you want to make sure that you do with a hitter like Alvarez, who likes to take that ball and more of a pull type hitter. You want to make sure you get that ball, that breaking ball on the outside part plate. You throw it in the middle plate, he can definitely hurt you.
Those are the splits for Alvarez this year. 2 men out, or check it, 1 man out, 2 on. And a 1-2 pitch is outside. Alvarez doesn't bite. 2-2 now. McCutchen with great speed at second. Jones at first. Alvarez bouncing ball. Got a chance here. Segura to the bag. Throw to first. And it is in time. A double play. Gorzelani. Brilliant out of the bullpen. A 6-3 double play to end the inning. And we're still tied at 8.
Twitter poll, no surprise. Mean Gene Segura took 45% of the vote as the highlight of the Brewers' first month of April, and Brewers fans have answered the call on our Head and Shoulders Whip contest. Now this is the grand prize, a game-worn Yovani Gallardo jersey. And guys, we need to make one final push here. We have until 11 o'clock for Brewers fans to continue tweeting #Whip. Using the handle @Brewers. Brewers fans have done a tremendous job. We will select one fan who will receive this game-worn Yovani Gallardo jersey, so the stakes are high. We're trying to get a $10,000 donation from Head & Shoulders for the local RBI League, Brian.
All right, thanks, Sophia. Well, Gene Segura with a home run to tie this game, and now we move to the bottom of the 7th. A terrific job getting out of the last inning. Segura with the double play, the 6-3 double play. Perfectly positioned out there. We've seen some defenders in the right spots here tonight. Both managers studying the scouting reports and have moved him well as Betancourt sends one deep to right. Did he get it? That ball's got a chance, and it's gone! Yuni Betancourt does it again, and the Brewers have a 9-8 lead. Speaking of player of the month in the National League, here's another candidate. Uni B coming up with a huge hit to start the 7th inning, and the Brewers on top. Maldonado now. Bouncing ball. Barmes with time makes the play, and the first out. And let's take another look at this one, Craig. Uni B goes deep to the opposite field.
Well, he gets a 1-0 fastball over the plate, and I really think the hitters feel the ball is traveling, and they know they can get a ball and hit it the opposite field out of the park here tonight. And it's a good feeling as a hitter when you can drive that ball like Uni just did to the opposite field and it's going to go out of the park.
Well, think about this. All 6 home runs in this game have come to either center field or to the opposite field. 4 by the Pirates, 2 by the Brewers. Segura's went to right center, and of course Betancourt into the bleachers in right. 9 runs on 12 hits as Chris Davis will pinch hit for Milwaukee. Well, you got to give a lot of credit to Gorzelani, whom Davis is hitting for here. He's able to settle it down. That big double play to get the Brewers out of the mess. Be at the top of this inning. And the offense stays on the attack. Unable to check his swing, and it's 1-1. John Axford preparing for the 8th. Davis has big power. Has yet to homer in the big leagues. Getting his first chance and a little half swing. He is strike 2 on Davis. The lack of playing time looks like it's starting to affect Chris Davis at the plate a little bit.
It's difficult for a young hitter to come up, and he had 2 starts the first week of the year, and since then just really pinch hitting duty. It's difficult to stay sharp. First time in his baseball career probably that he hasn't played on a daily basis, and that's an adjustment, and it takes some getting used to.
Yeah, and then you start to get a little panic going. I mean, look, Chris Davis knows the roster situation. He knows Aramis Ramirez is coming off the DL soon, and he's probably counting the numbers. And he wants to make an impression here. He wants to stay. 2-2 and a big swing and a miss, and down he goes on strikes. 2 outs now in the inning.
I think what the hitter ends up battling more than anything, I don't think Chris is thinking about the roster situation. I think he just gets so few swings in a game that you start thinking about your swing too much. So every swing he makes, you might think you have to make an adjustment if you don't get a hit. You get 1 at bat a night, 3 at bats a week. You go back to the dugout thinking, do I got to do something different? Is this not working? And you end up kind of tinkering with stuff that probably doesn't need to be messed with.
That's a good point. And you know, you're always looking for that veteran bat off the bench. Very few young players can handle that role. It has been impressive, actually. Logan Schaefer has been able to handle that pinch hitting role for the Brewers. He has the last couple of seasons anyway. Very limited action as a pinch hitter. It is a tough job, and you did it for a number of years.
You know, it makes it so hard. You don't get an opportunity to hit the ball that much or get a lot of at bats, and you can't go. There's no way you can simulate it any other way. You can go and have guys throw you BP, but it's just not the same. Then it becomes, like Craig said, that mental part of the game, being able to go up there and keep that good focus.
2 gone for Aoki. And a slow roller. Alvarez cuts it off, winds it up, no chance. That was going to be a tough play to start with, but once Alvarez didn't get the clean transition out of his glove, Aoki beats it out for an infield hit, his first hit of the night.
Well, Norrie's been taking that little half swing with 2 strikes. Just put the ball in play. Something good might happen. And there he's just serving the ball out in the field, and a little bobble by Alvarez, and Aoki's able to beat it.
Yeah, you think about the 2 strike swings of Chris Davis just a moment ago. Remember Gabby Sanchez? And Aoki just trying to put the ball in play, and it works to his advantage here in the 7th. 2 out base runner for Gene Segura, who tied this game in the 6th inning with a home run to right center. He's homered in consecutive games. Close play over at first.
Just, you know, he's just putting the ball in play. You know, he's only got 8 strikeouts on the year. And Johnny Nairn stresses to the hitters all the time, 2-strike contact, 2-strike contact. And just 2-strike contact, not going to work every time, but going to get you on base once in a while, going to get you a hit once in a while.
Now, you're a tennis player. That just looked like a little drop shot. Right over the net. Segura with 2 away, runner at first. Brewers looking for more. Can't have enough in this game. Starting to get the idea that Brian Morris loves the slider. He's thrown a bunch of them here tonight.
Well, it's a hard slider, 89-mile-an-hour slider. You don't see many guys throwing 89-mile-an-hour sliders, so he's going to stick with it.
And he's been very successful tonight. He's been getting ahead with the slider. You can get ahead with it, and then every once in a while you mix a pitch, a fastball up and in, or change eye levels, and you go right back to it. Tonight, like you said, Craig, that 89-mile-an-hour slider located is a pretty good pitch.
There goes Aoki, pitch out, and the throw to second right on the bag, and Aoki is out. The Pirates sniff that one out, but the Brew Crew back on top, going long ball once again, and it's Uni B, everybody's favorite Brewer this April. 9-8 Brewers. Enjoying this one tonight. The Brewers have a 9-8 lead. Our Toyota game summary. Gene Segura with a home run to tie it. That came in the 6th inning. Uni Betancourt with a home run to give the Brewers the lead as we head to the 8th. And we have had 6 home runs in this game. And as Craig pointed out, they have all come to either straightaway center or to the opposite field by all of these right-handed hitters. So to the 8th we go, Augie, and it'll be John Axford, who is now in a setup role for the Brewers in the 8th inning.
Yeah, he's been throwing the ball very well. He's making his 12th appearance. Last pitched on Saturday, gave up a solo home run to Andre Ethier, but other than that, he's been throwing very good in his last 7 appearances. Has a 1.42 ERA and throwing the ball very well.
Well, we had a chance to chat with Lee Tunnell in the 2nd inning tonight. He joined us from down in the bullpen, the Brewers bullpen coach, and talking a little mechanics with John Axford and some of the things that they've done to get his season turned around. So he'll have the 8th on a night when the ball is flying out of the ballpark. Axford has had a problem with the home runs. Been giving up a few. But for the most part, he has turned things around after a very rough first 10 days to the season.
Right here you see Axford. What they did with him, it just seemed like early in the season he was really upright. When you're really upright, you have a long circle with your arm. It's a little bit harder to get your arm in a good position. By making a little bit of a hunched over or leaning a little bit forward there, it shortens that arm circle, gets your arm in a good position, and for Axe it's really made a big difference.
Well, and has his scoreless outings continue. The confidence is rising. Ron Renicky did make no bones about it the other day, saying we need Axford ultimately in that closer's role. Oh, here's Betancourt with a dive. Can he finish it? Throw to first. What can he do this year? Uni B, an outstanding play at third base for the first out of the inning.
Well, the Brewers have played some great defense tonight, and Uni B adds another highlight play to the reel.
This is something. Nobody saw this coming, especially offensively. And Betancourt, as he has hit, he has played some outstanding defense for the Brewers. That was a beautiful play. One gone. There's strike one to Clint Barmas.
Yeah, the one thing you see out of Axe too, he's starting to use more of his slider than he has his curveball. Curveball is kind of a lower percentage pitch get overplayed. Slider a little bit easier to throw. He's been using it and been more successful.
97 miles an hour with a fastball. That's his best bullet of the year. And that kind of speaks to what you're talking about, Augie, as the mechanics have come around. The fastball has started to rise.
You know, all of a sudden you get relaxed, you get your arm in a better position. Now you're nice, free, and easy, and in Axe, it's really made a big difference.
Barmas able to foul it off on the breaking ball. And just getting back to the point that Ron Renicky made, and no disrespect to Jim Henderson. Henderson's been great out of the bullpen closing games. He is 6 for 6, and he's a guy that the Brewers have relied on heavily. But Axford has been there. He's had great success. At one point had 49 consecutive saves. Henderson still a bit unproven, although he's off to a great start. 0-2 pitch and another breaking ball foul.
Just seems like the delivery has made his arm in more consistent place as far as releasing the ball. You're on top of the ball. It looked like a little times early in the season that when Axford threw the breaking ball, the ball would pop out of his hand and go, and that's a little loop in that breaking ball that hitters do pick up. Now it looks like it's nice and hard and firm right to the plate.
Calling for the slider here, the 0-2. And that one's lined back up the middle, base hit. So Barmas on an 0-2 pitch after spoiling a couple of curveballs from Axford. Singles for his second hit. And now the tying run is aboard. Potential go-ahead run coming up in Travis Snider, who will be pinch hitting. Base runners everywhere tonight. There have been very few scoreless frames in this game tonight. Only 5 of them of the 14 we've played so far. The only scoreless innings for the Brewers, the first and the 5th. Pirates have scored in every inning but the 2nd, 4th, and 7th. And a bunch of crooked numbers up there. Travis Snider is hitless as a pinch hitter this season. He is 0 for 5, former Blue Jay. Brewers got a big double play to win the 7th inning when Gorzelani got 2 for the price of 1 against Alvarez. Snider way out in front. Boy, Axford has a good curveball going tonight.
Down in the zone. You look at Axford earlier in the season, he got his breaking ball up a lot. It just seems that now he's a little bit more able to get on top of that ball and keep the ball down in the zone.
Zips a fastball in there. Caught Snider taking a guess, and it's 2-2. Gonna try another one. Got a runner at first with 1 out. Lucroy sets up inside, and Snider swings and misses. 97 with the fastball. Axford dials it up a couple of notches for out number 2.
Well, you really have to like the way Axe has been throwing the ball. Right there, it's not so much the velocity. He had 97 miles an hour, but what a great location. You want to get that ball in on the left-hand hitter. You want to elevate it just a little bit. That's exactly what Axe did, and Sanders swung right through it for the strikeout.
Right over the top. Big fastball from Axford. Well, back to the top of the order. Starling Marte, who hit a 3-run homer in the 6th inning to give the Pirates the lead. Jumped on the first pitch, and Axford starts him with a hook. Marte with 2 hits tonight. He has scored twice. His 3-run home run in the 6th inning was his 2nd home run of the season. Tied him up. Back to the heat, and it's 0-2.
Well, Axford is locating his fastball. I think that's the great thing we're seeing right now. And when he gets both pitches going with 96, the hitter's at his mercy. You can't look for breaking ball and fastball at 96. A located fastball. He's going to have success like that.
See what Lucroy wants here. 0-2 the count. Brewers lead by a run.
This is where you don't have to throw a strike here. You can throw something out of the zone. Bounce the ball, get Lucroy to block it.
Well, you wonder if Axford had a quick memory there, giving up an 0-2 hit to Barmas on the slider. He's going back to it. 0-2, and there's a base hit. So the slider has gotten Axford in trouble tonight. Both hits in this inning against Axford coming on 0-2 sliders. Barmas and Marte, and now 2 on with 2 out, and Russell Martin coming up.
You know, I think Craig said it perfectly. It's about making the pitches, but that good locations. You're talking about 2 strike hits. A lot of times, or 9 times out of 10, when you get an 0-2 pitch or a 0-2 hit and it's a breaking ball, the ball's up in his zone. Just seems like Axton finished the breaking ball up a little bit. They just did a nice job of hitting the ball right up the middle.
Well, the Axeman in trouble here. 2 on, 2 out, and a dangerous hitter coming up in Russell Martin, one of the big offseason acquisitions for the Pirates. Coming to Pittsburgh from the Yankees. He hit his 6th home run of the year in the 5th inning. Well, these two have a history together, and I'll tell you this, there were a lot of Canadians that were not happy with Russell Martin this spring when he pulled the plug on playing for Team Canada. Axford was one of those. And he misses upstairs. Martin had said he would play for Team Canada in the WBC, but he wanted to play short. He wasn't going to catch. And then he decided not to play at the last minute. Kind of left the Canadian team in a little bit of a lurch without a shortstop. And those who were left on that team, like Axford and Henderson, were pretty critical of him. That one almost hit him, and it's 2 balls and no strikes as Axford has misfired on a couple of breaking balls.
Similar to the breaking ball that got away from McDonald and hit Segura. Just a breaking ball that gets away. And this is a spot you still got to be very careful. No reason to, just because you're behind, throw a strike here. Quality pitch is still very important.
You got McCutchen on deck, who has 4 hits tonight. 2 on, 2 out, and Martin, a big swing and a miss.
Right there, Axe came back with a well-located fastball down and away. Anytime you have any indecision on that, it's a good spot to go down and away. Make the hitter make the adjustment.
Battle of Ontario here. Martin against Axford. 2 on, 2 out. And he fouls it away. He's late on the fastball. And it goes to 2-2. I'd be willing to bet Augie's house that Axe is not going to throw a slider here.
I think I might take you up on that.
Okay. Let's see. This should be fun. All right, we spiced it up a little bit. Both of the hits this inning coming on an 0-2 sliders. See what the Axeman does. Big pitch here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a fastball on the ground. Right to Weeks, and that's that. So Axford back to the heat, and Augie has no place to live. 9-8, the Brewers have the lead.
In this slugfest, Brewers lead it going to the bottom of the 9th over the Pirates. We're getting set for Brewers Live postgame coming up. And it's interesting, the last day of April here, Yuniesky Betancourt, for all intents and purposes, has put up Aramis Ramirez type numbers this month. 6 home runs and 21 RBIs.
Well, Uni right now is doing things, partner, that they didn't expect that he would be doing. They knew that he would be a little productive, but they knew one thing for sure, he could go out there and play defense. But what he's done offense has been a big, big plus, because he's been able to drive the ball, hit 6 home runs. I mean, he's doing it from both ends of the spectrum, and I'm really impressed the way he's been playing defense at third base.
All right, we'll break this game down further. Brewers Live postgame coming up inside the clubhouse as well. Looking forward to it. Brewers all smiles right now, but you know how this one has gone, guys.
Yeah, it has been a night for the hitter. On the mound for the Pirates, Tony Watson.
Watson last pitched on Saturday, where he pitched a scoreless inning, and he's been giving up just 3 hits in his last 7 appearances.
Watson out of that Pittsburgh bullpen. Well, the Pirates had a lead briefly after the 3-run home run by Starling Marte, and you know Clint Hurdle wanted to get into his winning relievers, the pitchers he uses when his club's ahead late, and they are very good when they have late leads. And their closer Jason Grilli has been outstanding this year. He is the league leader in saves coming in, and the Brewers would like not to have to deal with him. 9-8 Milwaukee, bottom of the 8th. Segura tied it with a home run in the 6th inning to right center, and then the next inning, the 7th, as Craig and Davey just showed you, Betancourt hit the home run to give him the lead. 6 home runs tonight, 4 by the Pirates. Axford just getting out of a mess in the 8th, stranding 2 base runners. It is just one of those runs for the Brewers against the Pirates that you cannot explain. Going back to the 07 season, the Brewers are 45-7 against Pittsburgh, and a win tonight for Milwaukee would make it 9 consecutive wins over the Pirates going back to last season.
It's been incredible. And like I said, we don't want to explain it.
And you're not really willing to talk about it.
I don't really want to talk about it.
Getting tight-lipped over there. It's just the facts. Just the facts. Yeah, that was a stretch, Craig, when you were playing, when you guys had won, I believe it was 21 in a row here at Miller Park against the Pirates.
It was certainly incredible, and it's not something you can explain. It's just the game happens, and we tend to play well. There's certain players that Yovani Gallardo pitches well against this lineup. Ryan Braun destroys Pittsburgh Pirate pitching, things like that. That kind of leads all into that a streak like that or a run like that.
2-2 on Segura. He took a big rip, fouls it back.
Kind of interesting right here. They've seen what Segura has been able to do by swinging and hitting the ball the other way. Watson here is giving him a steady diet of hard stuff in, seeing if he can handle it.
I think you also see that Watson is really one of Clint Hurdle's guys when he brings in to face three righties in Segura, Braun, and Lucroy.
And Segura out in front. Like he took a little off and an easy out for the first out of the inning. Our Carsoup.com email the booth question. With the balls flying out of the ballpark here tonight. Brewers hit 5 home runs last night. They have 2 tonight. I love this question, right? Here's Joey in Muskego. Does Bernie Brewer get tired with all the sliding and walking up the stairs after games like last night? Well, we have 2 analysts tonight. Did you guys do your homework before the game?
I have. I've actually had to slide down that slide last year. And first inning, you start at the beginning of the game. Just so happens the Brewers hit 3 home runs that inning. I had to go down 3 times, and I was totally exhausted.
You know, before you actually came in here the last 2 days to fill in for Rock, there were a lot that thought you were Bernie Brewer, Augie.
Same kind of shape.
I'm just saying, you know, the mustache and
yeah,
kind of the swagger that you and Bernie share.
Well, last year we had to do it when they lost Bernie, and Davey went the first day. All he had to do is go down once. So they said, Augie, you do it the next day. I go up there. What happens? Brewers hit 2 home runs. I have to go down to begin the game. Within 10 minutes, I had to go down 3 times. I was exhausted.
Dropped a few, I'm sure.
Oh.
Well, the Brewers would love to see him slide again as Braun chops one over the mound. Going to be a tough play. Barmas coming in. Throw, no throw. And Braun is aboard. His 3rd hit of the game. Makes him 3 for 5 tonight.
Just a little chopper over the mound, and Braun still with that good speed getting to first base. He gets a lot more infield hits than you'd think.
So the Brewers as a team are leading the National League in infield hits. Segura individually is at the top of that list. Not too often does Braun bat with the infield end. They're always about as far back as they can get. So you do see a lot of infield hits from him. Here's Lucroy now with 1 away. What's that, a little changeup from Watson?
Yeah, Watson's got that fastball he throws in the mid-90s and a little bit of cutter on the inside part of the plate. He's got a real good changeup. Seems like that's the ball that Ryan kind of bounced over his head there and got the base hit, but has used it effectively. Used it with Segura to pop him up.
Now 2 struggling hitters getting big hits tonight. Lucroy and Ricky Weeks. Lucroy is 2 for 4. He legged out an infield hit back in the 6th inning. He's driven in a run. Looking ahead to the Pittsburgh 9th inning. They're going to be right in the heart of their order. Andrew McCutchen, Garrett Jones, Gabby Sanchez due up 3, 4, and 5, and McCutchen has 4 hits tonight. So you know the Brewers are hoping to tack a few on here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
You know, another thing that makes Watson a little pretty effective is the arm angle he comes out of. He doesn't come over your traditional over the top that you see a lot of pitchers do. He's kind of like 3/4 out and goes a lot like Bumgarner from San Francisco has that same angle. Very tough to pick up, and you can have some pretty good movement on the ball.
2-1, Braun at first, and Watson will check on him. Braun doesn't have a stolen base tonight, but he's been running a lot. Matter of fact, he was in motion when Lucroy doubled in the 4th inning. That was a base hit to left field, and Braun ended up at 3rd base. He thought he had a stolen base. Lucroy fouled one away the next time up. He's got a nice lead over there. He stays put. Lucroy fouls it away. .28 hits in this game. Each club with 14. And the Brewers on top 9-8. The Brewers bullpen, Gorzolani to Axford, putting up zeros the last 2 innings. Way inside. Nice play by Martin. Keeps Braun at first. Boy, that was something. Martin's had a good game behind the plate tonight. Cut down a couple of base runners.
And that's one reason you look at what the Pirates are trying to do in the offseason. Their #1 goal was to go out and get a good sound catcher. Last year, they were last in the Major League Baseball with I believe it was like over 150 steals and only getting caught 19 guys. So they want to really be strong up the middle. That starts with the catching department, and they went out and got Russell Martin.
Ready for a 2-2 from Watson. Count will stay at 2-2. Counts, you see that guy in the white jersey there in the pinstripes?
Yeah.
That is a Craig Counsell game used jersey right there. A little snug on him.
They're 90% off over in the gift shop, I think.
Everything must go. Lucroy takes ball 4. Yeah, that was a 3-2 pitch. I beg your pardon. And Lucroy draws the walk. And now 1st and 2nd with 1 away for Ricky Weeks.
Good at bat there by Luke.
They still remember, Counts. They still remember. Grand slam, a 10-run 1st inning. That was back in April of 2010. We'll never forget that game against the Washington Nationals.
10-run 1st inning. That was a crazy day. Grand slam in the 1st inning. That's a good memory.
That's a good moment. How many grand slams did you hit in your career?
Hit 2.
Nice.
2. One as a rookie and one in one of my last years. So
spaced them out. Wanted to throw off the scouting report. Now Ricky Weeks with 1 gone. Weeks has never had a grand slam. You've had 2 more than Ricky Weeks in your illustrious career. I'm not even going to ask Augie if he's had a grand slam. Braun at 2nd, Lucroy at 1st. And the 0-1 is a strike on the inside corner. All right, Augie.
We probably have to date back to my little leagues, back when I was played for the Lions Club Lions when I was 10. Kewanee, Wisconsin. I was from Kewanee, Wisconsin. No, I don't ever remember hitting a grand slam. I remember giving up grand slams.
Now Ricky Weeks looking for his 3rd hit of the game. Be a big spot for one here. He's down 0-2. And a ball and 2 strikes. Well, it's been a wild one tonight. Pirates scored first. There have been 3 3-run innings in this game. is going to be a game defined by the home run ball and the bullpens. Both starters were out after 5. James McDonald giving up 7 runs in 5 innings. Marco Estrada 5 runs in 5 innings. Weeks hits that one hard to right center field. That ball's way back, and there she goes! A 3-run home run. Ricky Weeks with a 3-hit game. And the Brewers open it up here. 12-8 Milwaukee on Weeks' second home run of the season. And those runs are Badger Mutual Insurance runs of the game.
Well, it's good to see Ricky attacking the fastball. And again, using the opposite field. Another home run to the opposite field. Great to see Ricky busting out here tonight.
And on a 2-strike pitch, no less. What a night for Weeks. 5 RBIs, 3 hits and a walk. A triple away from the cycle tonight. Yeah, he's all business in that dugout, isn't he? He knows it's been a struggle at the plate. And that's got to feel good for him. 12-8 Brewers. Now 15 hits in the ball game.
Well, as a struggling hitter, this is the kind of night that just breaks the ice. You can kind of take that deep breath and relax. Part of you says, wow, this is really easy. What was going on for a while? But it's just a good feeling to feel like you contribute to scoring runs and put some good swings on baseballs.
Well, that is a career best for Ricky Weeks, the 5 RBIs. He's had 4 on a few occasions, but never 5 until tonight. Well, his manager has stuck with him. He did last year as well, and he basically said, look, I know the talk around Ricky Weeks, and he is in a big slump, but he's a guy that needs to play, and you never know when he's going to have that breakout game. And the Brewers have been winning during this stretch while Weeks has struggled at the plate. And tonight it is Weeks who puts the club on his back. 5 RBIs, 3 hits tonight. And those are some big runs to get with the middle of the order coming up in the ninth. Still just 1 out. It was turning into an epic slump for Weeks. You could take it back 72 at-bats. That's a lot of at-bats. And just 7 hits prior to his game tonight. As Gomez is drilled. Oh, that won't make the Brewers very happy here. Carlos Gomez hit by a pitch. Pirates have already had 1 pitcher suspended after hitting a batter after a couple of home runs. That was Jonathan Sanchez, and Clint Hurdle's seen enough. He will immediately take Watson out of the ball game here. So we'll take a timeout. 3 big runs are in. New pitcher coming in for the Pirates. Courtesy of Time Warner Cable. Some restrictions apply. Visit Brewers.com/students.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Milwaukee Brewers Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers.
You did it. That's a big one. That's MLB quality.
That was well done.
Yeah. Gomez takes off, and he will take second base after he was hit by a pitch. He has no qualms about running here up 12-8 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Now you've accomplished all of your goals in broadcasting, Craig. You got to read the disclaimer.
I've never said the word disseminated before.
See, the truck had odds that that was the one that was going to throw you. But you just plowed right through it, man.
That's right.
Excellent reader. That's that Notre Dame education right there, coming through in a big way. Look at Augie's nervous now. He's like, what are they going to hand me to read? No, you're all right, Augie. You're okay.
We'll wait till after the game's over.
It's been great being with you guys. Done a nice job filling in for Rock. Craig Counsell, Jerry Augustine picking us up for the 2 days as Betancourt fouls it away. Now Betancourt had one of the bigger hits of the night with the home run in the 7th inning. That was to lead off the 7th, and that gave the Brewers the lead. 0-2 to Uni B. Gomez takes off, and that ball's back to the screen. Gomez rounded third. He thought about it for a minute. Tell you what, Gomez has a quick answer for the Pirates after being drilled a minute ago. He steals 2 bases in this 8th inning.
I'll tell you one thing, if that ball wouldn't have carried him off that backstop up in here and went right back to Russell Martin, I think we would have had an interesting situation with Carlos Gomez right there, because he was determined.
Well, that is going to force the infield in. This is one of those nights you can't have enough runs on the board. And now the Brewers have a runner at third with 1 out. And Betancourt fouls it right off his foot.
That hurts. Hughes running that sinking fastball in on Uni's hands and right off his shin, it looks like.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, just below the knee off the shin. Oh. Big Jared Hughes with that power sinker. 3 runs are in. Ricky Weeks hit a 3-run homer just a moment ago. Now Gomez over at third with 2 steals, and a 1-2 is chopped foul. You can't blame Hughes for going back in there. That home run by Betancourt in the 7th inning was his 6th of the season. So he is now in the top 10 in the league in homers. Actually, he's 8th in the league in homers. And for RBIs, Uni Betancourt has 21 runs batted in. He is tied with Ryan Braun for the club high in RBIs. 4th in the league, those two. Who'd have thunk it? Got a chance to drive in another one here. 1-2 the count. And Betancourt over to third. Alvarez coming to the plate, and Gomez, he is tagged out. So Gomez cut down. Good throw by Alvarez for the 2nd out.
Well, the Brewers had the contact play on, so Gomez is off at the crack of the bat, but right at the third baseman. With Hughes throwing that sinker in, you kind of had a feeling that the ball was going to that side of the infield, and Alvarez Slight bobble, but recovered to get Gomez easily.
Yeah, Gomez with a couple of steals put the Brewers in a position to maybe steal another run here in this inning, but now 2 gone and Betancourt first for Maldonado. Maldonado is 1 out of 3 tonight with a walk. He drove in 2 big runs in the second inning. Martin has been getting the starts at first base here lately. He hit a 2-run homer in Los Angeles on Saturday. He caught that game. And he's played first base the last 3 days as Alex Gonzalez has been nursing a little tightness in the hamstring. And Maldonado has made these at-bats and these starts count. He's come up with some big hits. He had a 2 RBI single last night. And Craig, this was back in the second inning, putting the Brewers on the board for the first time.
And this was just putting the ball in play, getting the base hit down the line. But big thing is getting the Brewers a lead and putting them on the board.
Maldonado now with 10 runs batted in. Brewers are very fortunate to have 2 talented young catchers in Lucroy and Maldonado. And Renicky has done all he can do to make sure these 2 guys are getting enough at bats. And that's where a guy like Blake Lally comes in, who has the ability to catch. Lally's already pinch hit in this game. He's out. But it does free up Renicky to use both of his catchers. He's had them both in the starting lineup. There goes Betancourt. And that is ball 4. So Maldonado is aboard. The inning continues here for Milwaukee. Well, Jerry, your night's not over after this game ends. If it does, in fact, end. We got our Brewers Live post-game instructional. Craig and Davey out on the set. And the old left-hander for our post-game instructional. What do you have going on tonight?
We're going to talk about a play that happened earlier when Gomez hit the double, the carom off the wall, playing that carom off the wall, knowing your surroundings. So,
and what will your role be in that, Augie?
To set Davey up. That'll be about it.
Here's Logan Schaefer, and he takes a strike.
That's what Rock says, isn't it? Set him up and then stay out of the way.
Mm-hmm. He's the facilitator.
Facilitator, that's what I'll do.
And what will your role be, Craig?
I will provide you with this. Every series when the Brewers go on the road, Eddie Cedar will roll balls in the corner of stadiums for Ryan Braun or Aoki to see how the ball comes off, how the ball caroms.
Oh, I see. You're taking us behind the curtain here a little bit.
Yes.
So Ed Cedar and John Shelby handling the outfielders. So that's the way they prepare for a visiting stadium they're not familiar with. Well, I guess you can go home then. 1-2 on Logan Schaefer, who is 3 for 10 as a pinch hitter this year. First night the roof has been opened this year and the balls are flying out of Miller Park. 7 home runs. Brewers have hit 3 and they have hit 8 in this series so far. Well, when this inning started, the Brewers were sitting on a 1-run lead. Weeks hit a 3-run homer. Henderson looks like he'll still have the 9th. Schaefer, shallow left. Marte is there. Side retired, but another 3-spot, the 3rd of the night. And Ricky Weeks, 3's wild for him tonight. His 3rd hit is a 3-run homer. Stretches the lead to 4. The Brewers take it to the 9th. And a chance to win back-to-back games here. 12 runs on 15 hits. They lead it 12-8 as we head to the 9th inning now. And 3 outs away from winning the first 2 games in the series. So here's what's coming up. Don't forget, tomorrow is a non-televised day game. It is a 12:10 start. Final game of the series with the Pirates in the middle of a 9-game homestand. Cardinals are coming in for 4 beginning Thursday. And then the Rangers are here for just 2 quick ones. Brewers have a home-and-home with Texas this year. Key homestand for Milwaukee. We'll see these same Pirates on the next road trip. And don't forget, you can see the Brewers squeeze play after the game. If you want to listen to the game live, Bob Uecker, the Hall of Famer, and Joe Block. They'll have the radio call for you across the Brewers radio network. So it'll be Jim Henderson. It's not a save situation, but he is in the game to try to finish this one off. Andrew McCutchen will lead off. Well, the complexion of this inning changes a great deal from what we were talking about prior to the bottom of the 8th starting. Brewers had a 1-run lead. Looking at the middle of this order, Ricky Weeks changed all that.
And facing a red-hot Andrew McCutchen with 4 hits already tonight. Much better with a 4-run lead in this at-bat right here.
Henderson's done a great job this year. 6 for 6 in save opportunities. I thought it was interesting, Augie. He said he wanted to try to cut down on his pitches per inning. He feels like he could pitch more to contact. But he's been a strikeout pitcher, which was a little unusual that he said that.
Well, you know, I think the one thing he's talking about there is he's going deep in the counts. It just seemed like, you know, in most of the games, again, he's been successful, but I think what he's trying to do is not go deep in count, pitch to early contact. You could still get strikeouts, but if you're pitching early contacts, making those good pitches, you eliminate some of the number of pitches you throw, and usually put the ball in play and have more success.
Well, might be a good chance to work on that here with a 4-run lead. Shook off the slider. He wants a fastball here. And the 1-2 is lined into center. Gomez is right there for the out. 1 away for Henderson. To your point, Augie. Shook off the breaking ball. Back to the fastball with a 4-run lead.
You got that 4-run lead. What you want to do is you want to pitch to contact. You get ahead, go right after a hitter, make a good location pitch, make the hitter swing the bat.
And the Brewers are now 2 outs away from winning their 9th consecutive game against the Pirates. The Brewers have won 7 consecutive home games. A win tonight. If they wrap this one up, it would be 8 in a row. Remember, they swept the last homestand, the Giants and the Cubs, after a 1-5 start here at Miller Park. Brewers have not lost since. And Milwaukee is going to finish the month of April guaranteed with a winning record, despite what happens here in the 9th. But if they finish this one off, Milwaukee will go 14-11 after starting the season 2-8. Amazing.
That's a great recovery, and it's, you know, I think it's what we saw last year. There's some injuries happen, some struggles happen. Ron Roenicke never changes. It's the same message, and the team rights the ship and actually goes on a run in the midst of some adversity. Goes on a run, and I think it's a real credit to Ron how he handles the day-to-day activities of this team.
It just seems like he's never too up, never too down, and frankly, he's been the same guy with the media, same guy with his team, I'm sure. And you played for him, so you know best. But whether you're in a 2-8 start or whether you're in the middle of a 9-game winning streak, he is all business, Roenicke. And there's a strikeout. Henderson with the big fastball against Garrett Jones, and out number 2. Augie, you pointed out as one of the keys in this first month of the season, that win, that comeback victory against St. Louis on a Sunday in St. Louis on the road. Well, the Brewers, with one more out, will have won 12 of their last 15 games from that victory moving forward. That includes a 9-game winning streak. That really was a momentum changer for the club.
It is. You need special things to happen to go on these streaks, and you know, that day it just changed the attitude. It just seemed that everybody got relieved. They weren't scoring runs. They came back a big win in a place where they don't play that well. And you know what? It's just been everybody. When you look at this, it's just not, you don't look at a certain group, or you don't look at just the pitching. You don't look at just the hitting or the fielding. It's been everybody. And I think you guys would agree with me. You look at this ball club, even with the 2 key injuries they got, it's still about the team and going out and playing hard every day.
Ball to strike. Well, St. Louis won tonight. They beat the Reds 2-1. Cardinals are 15-11. A win tonight for the Brewers takes them to 14-11. Bouncing ball. This should do it. Gene Segura winds it up, and that's the ball game. The Brew Crew staying hot at home. 8 straight at home. 9 in a row over the Pirates going back to last season. And a 12-8 victory. Tom Gorzolani picks up the win. Well, Craig Counsell, Jerry Augustine, thanks so much for filling in for Rock. It's been great fun. You guys did a great job.
Thanks for having us.
All right, you go take your makeup off now. Just kidding. All right, let's kick it out to Craig Kashawn. He's standing by. It's time for Brewers Live. Craig, what do you have coming up?
Well, plenty to talk about tonight. The hits, the runs, the key players contributing. This team just keeps on keeping on. What a finish to the month of April. We'll get inside the clubhouse here from the players. Also the manager, Ron Renneke, all on the way. Brewers Live is next.